Dear God, today, as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. And now for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mayor Murphy. Councilor Nguyen. Here. Councilor Elliott.
Here.
Councilor Kennedy.
Here.
Councilor Leahy.
Here.
Councilor Laurie.
Here.
Councilor Martin.
Here.
Vice Chair Mendonça.
Here.
Councilor Mercier.
Here.
8 present.
Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence in darkened chambers for 2 people. First, for William Bill Vredes. Bill was a longtime executive director of the Boys Club here in the city, was married to his late wife, Helen, for 67 years, lived to the healthy young age of 99 years old, and passed away last week. He's survived by his son, Bill, and many grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Also for Ed Casey, a longtime resident of the Centerville section of the city. He was the husband of the late Ann Casey, who had died in 2006. Ed was a longtime clerk at the trial court here in Lowell. Was predeceased by 2 sons, including Harry, who I knew well. Also leaves his children and many grandchildren, but both made very significant contributions to the city. Both will be sorely missed.
All right, we'll have darkened chambers in a moment of silence. First item on our agenda is a proclamation to Matthew Boger of the New England Organ Bank, recognizing April as Donate Life Month. I believe Mr. Boger is present. We also have present, I believe, Shannon Gover from the clerk's office, and Olga Gauthier, who received, Olga donated, and Shannon donated and Olga received an organ earlier this year. A proclamation. Whereas the exceptional selfless generosity of organ and tissue donors save lives every day, leaving an indelible mark not only on the recipient, but their families and the greater community. The greatest example of true humanitarianism. And whereas the need for donors is greater than ever before, with more than 114,000 Americans waiting for life-saving organ transplants, and many more waiting for donated tissues, 17 of whom die every day. And whereas this urgent healthcare issue must be addressed, many lives can be saved as more people discuss organ and tissue donation with their families and friends and register to be donors. Now therefore I, Joe Mendonça, on behalf of Patrick O. Murphy, Mayor of the City of Lowell, Massachusetts, do hereby declare April Donate Life Month in the City of Lowell and urge all healthcare professionals, volunteers, educators, government agencies, faith-based community groups, and private organizations to join forces to boost the number of organ and tissue donors throughout our city. Given the second day of April 2013 by Patrick O. Murphy, Mayor, City of Lowell. Mr. Bogle will just say a few words.
Good. City Council, I want to thank everyone so much for recognizing April as Donate Life Month. The opportunity to truly save another individual's lives when you're no longer needing that organ. 99% of all people who register to become organ and tissue donors do so at the RMV. Here in Lowell does a wonderful job presenting that optional question, would you like to register to become an organ and tissue donor? As you mentioned, there's over 117,000 people in the United States waiting, and we're happy here in Massachusetts to have among the best hospitals, not in the world but in the universe, that address organ and tissue donation. You referenced two individuals here in Lowell who have been personally touched, and there's countless others out there. I greatly appreciate City Council taking a few moments to recognize the importance of that and encourage everyone when they go to the RMV and or to go online at donatelifenewengland.org and register to become an organ and tissue donor. Thank you so much, sir. I greatly appreciate all your time.
Thank you. Before I call on Council Lori, if Shannon and Olga would stand, be recognized. Thank you very much. Council Lori.
Thank you. A year ago, I got a call from then the mayor, Pat Murphy, and we were talking about New England being the donor month in April. And we were talking, and we said, well, the cities and towns, and I think Pat brought out the information, where you get 30 days off with pay if you're a donor. And we brought it before the council in the form of a motion, and it was adopted. And now I look back, and who would know within a year we would have someone here working in the city that would use that benefit. But, you know, that you look back, was probably the best motion I think I made along with Mayor Murphy. And when you see how much it helps someone. Thank you.
Thank you. And next on the agenda, we have a resolution. Adopt a resolution relating to supporting rights of workers to organize and bargain collectively. In City Council, resolution to promote respect for human rights, including workers' freedom to form unions and bargain collectively without employer interference. The Lowell City Council of the City of Lowell has a history of support for freedom to form unions and the important public benefits inherent in collective bargaining, and realizing that failure to protect freedom to form unions is exacting a heavy health, economic, social, and political price from workers throughout our city, Commonwealth, and nation, including but not limited to increased risk of workplace health and safety hazards resulting in increased injuries and illness, suppressed wages, decreasing job quality, and worsening economic inequality, and knowing that protecting the freedom to form unions among human service workers is also vital to public health, because union members are far more likely than non-union workers to have adequate health insurance coverage, because where workers have greater freedom to form unions, more people, union and non-union alike, have effective health and safety programs to resolve hazards in the workplace. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows. 1, supports the rights of workers to organize and bargain collectively. 2, calls upon employers to A, recognize the rights of those who work for them either directly or indirectly, under contractual arrangements for services to be treated with dignity and to be paid a living wage and to work in a healthy, safe, and secure workplace. B, allow their employees to choose freely whether to unionize or not without intimidation or coercion. C, abide by their employees' decision when the majority indicates that it supports union representation. And D, refrain from abusing National Labor Relations Board elections and appeals by using them as a means for delaying or avoiding representation for their employees. 3, calls upon the U.S. government to amend the National Labor Relations Act to A, provide for increased penalties for the commission of unfair labor practices. B, ensure timely conduct of elections following the filing of representation petitions by relegating issues to post-election proceedings whenever possible. And C, ensure that employers and labor organization representatives have equal access to potential members of a bargaining unit during representation election campaigns. 4, calls upon the U.S. government to enforce existing OSHA regulations and increase penalties for OSHA violations. And 5, addresses specific labor issues on the state level by A, supporting the enforcement of state labor laws to provide organizing and collective bargaining rights for human service workers throughout our Commonwealth, and B, affirming support for the organizing and collective bargaining rights of state employees. This resolution adopted by City Council of Lowell on the 2nd day of April 2013. If so voted. Second reading by title in City Council resolution to promote respect for human rights, including workers' freedom to form unions and bargain collectively without employer interference. Motion to accept by Council Laurie, second by Council Noon. Any comments? Roll call.
Mayor Murphy. Councilor Nguyen. Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Leahy.
Yes.
Councilor Laurie.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Mendonça.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Next, we have from the city clerk's portion of the agenda, I'm sorry, one more thing. Number 3, communication in support of the home rule petition to expand the license commission from 3 to 5 members. I believe everyone's received a copy of it. Motion to accept and place on file by Council Kennedy, second by Council Leahy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. Next, we have on the city clerk's portion the minutes of the city council meeting March 26th and a special meeting with the auditor on March 26th for acceptance.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilor Kennedy.
I would like to move that we amend the minutes for the roll call of the special meeting. It indicates that there were 6 present, 3 absent, and that Council Kennedy arrived at 6:42 p.m. I think that probably should be 5:42 p.m. I think if it was at 6:42 p.m., I would have been among the 3 absent.
Will do.
Okay, seconded by Council Laurie. To amend, Council Laurie.
Amend the motion to accept.
Okay, motion to accept as amended and place on file by Council Leahy, second by Council Mercier. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion is carried. Next, under unfinished business, we have communication from the city manager to reappoint Michael Kiley, Animal Advisory Committee. We also have a communication number 14 from the city solicitor indicating the residency requirement's not required.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we combine them and move approval.
Aye, Councilor Kennedy. We combine item 5 and communication number 14. Move approval by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Mercia. No further discussion. Councilor Elliott.
Have we reached out to anybody in the community interested in serving on this, Mr. Manager, or are we just going through with the reappointment? Or is it the mayor?
On this,
Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor, on this one, Mr. Kiley has served since the beginning as a member of the MSPCA, and he's the representative from that organization. We haven't gone outside of that. We've stuck with that. But clearly for the other, we currently have an opening for a non-dog owner that we're still looking to fill, and obviously that will be a resident.
So the woman that's also from Methuen that was appointed prior to this one, she's from the Humane Society, right?
Correct. Great. She represents the kennel owner or kennel operator.
Doesn't that person have to live in Lowell?
I believe that.
A kennel operator in the city of Lowell?
I do not believe so. I'd have to go back and read that provision again, but I recall that being a discussion point that night.
Right.
And I think it's just that where the kennel is located in the city.
So there's two members from outside the city, and the other, we don't have a member, a non-dog owner currently, and the other two are,
City residents.
okay. All right. I guess that's my concern. I mean, I understand it's good to have somebody from the MSPCA, but I think it's also good to have a super majority of people from Lowell on it. That's what my concern. I don't have any disrespect for Mr. Kiley. He has put in a lot of time, but he's from Methuen or Haverhill, and she's from Methuen. So I don't understand why we can't get more people in the city to serve in this capacity.
Certainly, we're always looking for people to serve, and we'll continue to do that.
Thank you.
Council Noon.
Mr. Manager, what's the maximum?
Council Noon, could you put on your microphone, please?
Mine's on.
It is.
Probably they didn't, now I can hear it. Yeah, I thought they just, disconnect me so I won't have to say anything tonight. What's the maximum number for board members of this, the Animal Advisory Committee? Sounds like what you're saying now is that 2 residents from Lowell and 2 is a person from, both of them from MSPCA.
I believe there are 7 members to this committee, and I'd have to go back and review the ordinance.
So how many from Lowell out of these?
We'll have, if I'm correct in that it's 7, I'm quite sure it's 7. 5 would be from Lowell, and 2 would, in this case, 2 would represent organizations that.
Then if that's the case, then this committee would have supermajority from Lowell.
Correct. I'll verify that, but yeah.
Thank you.
Council Kennedy.
Yeah, I just want to say, I'm quite sure it's 7, but there are, within the legislation for this committee, there are specifications, and so maybe there's nobody in the city that meets these particular seats. At least I would hope that is the case, but, and I would hope that we would be able to fill the rest of this board soon. I had somebody call me last week that was interested in this board, and that apparently submitted a resume or whatever, so you must have a little bit of activity on this board, right, or interest?
We've had a couple of people, but they turned out to be dog owners, and it has to be a non-dog owner. So that's been the stumbling block that we've run into.
But you said that there were 2 filled, you're looking to fill a 3rd, so there must be 3 vacancies.
There's 1
I
vacancy.
think there's 1 vacancy.
There's 1 vacancy.
Okay.
Councilor Elliott.
So how many members are on right now? If there's 7?
I believe there's 7 members, there's 7 positions on the committee. There are 6, assuming this is filled, there'll be 6, leaving 1 vacancy for a non-dog owner.
And the other residents fulfill what requirements?
Again, I don't have the ordinance right in front of me, but there are categories. There's a dog owner, there's, I believe I'd have to go back and check the ordinance. I don't recall off the top of my head.
Okay, through you, Mr. Mayor.
I just know that there's 1 vacancy right now, and it's for a non-dog owner, because that's been what the stumbling block that we've had. People that are interested in this issue tend to own dogs.
Right, it's Animal Advisory
Right.
committee, so it makes sense. Mr. Clerk, is that the case? I mean, you're the keeper of the appointments, is that correct?
I believe it is. I'd have to check, but I believe it's a 7-member board, and each membership has certain criteria to it.
Right.
And I believe there's one to be filled, if this is approved.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call.
Mayor Murphy. Counsel Nguyen.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Laurie.
Yes.
Counsel Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Mendonça.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Council Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. In looking around the chambers this evening, I see quite a lot of people, and I was wondering if we could suspend the rules to allow my motion to come forward so we don't keep these good people here all evening, and that's motion, that's number 29.
I would second that.
Okay, second by Council Noon. All those in favor of suspending rules to take it out of order signify by saying aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion's carried. Motion by Council Mercer. Request City Council discuss in open session next Tuesday the actions of the mayor as it pertains to his duties and conduct, and take immediate action if necessary in the form of a vote of no confidence, as well as request the city clerk notify the mayor and invite him to be present. Second by
Second.
Councilor Elliott. Councilor Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. This is a motion that I hoped I would never have to have made. I thought long and hard about making it or not making it. I weighed this decision carefully as to what were the pros and the cons. Was it the right thing to do or not? And ultimately, here it is. There is a lot to be said. To remain silent would condone the actions that are taking place here and give the impression that all is well. Well, it isn't. To remain silent would indicate that we are in lockstep with the leadership of this council, but I'm certainly not. I can't speak for the rest, only myself. My colleagues can do that or not. It's up to them. To say nothing would make it appear that we just don't care, but I hope we all do. Someone needed to offer this motion, correct the situation, and steer this body back on track. Maybe there is a reason why things are going wrong, why there is division. Maybe there is an answer that we will uncover, that perhaps we as a council don't know about. Through this motion, I am willing to find out. I will not discuss my reasons for this motion until I am able to meet face-to-face with the person that this motion is directed to. He has a right to be here. He's not here this evening. This motion will give the mayor sufficient notice. As I was made aware of by people much more knowledgeable about the law and rules of this council than me, I learned that we can legally go into open session to discuss professional competence. I only suggested closed executive session because I felt that discussing something so personal warranted a closed session. I did not want to put the city, my colleagues, or myself in harm's way. If after discussion, my colleagues feel that what I say next week is accurate, then I will propose a vote of no confidence. You have a right to support it or not. The choice is yours. We as a council have every right to reprimand and/or sanction the mayor. I am merely following the law and doing my job. Now, I have been told to table this motion, and because we do know that an apology was issued in a blog site. I don't read blogs, so I wouldn't have known that. But someone put a piece of paper, and it was in with all the rest of it, so I didn't know that it was the apology right here. So because this piece of paper is here now, I should table this motion. Tabling the motion allows all these people that are here not to speak. Tabling this motion brings it up next week, and they all have to come back again. Maybe they want to come back next week. Maybe the motion will die on the floor. Maybe we could all stick our heads in the sand like an ostrich and pretend nothing is wrong. But I'm not going to do that because that is my obligation. But I'm bringing forward this motion. I'm not tabling it, but I'll tell you what my plan is. To bring this motion forward, let everybody speak that wants to, because you know what? This isn't my room. This is everybody's room. This is democracy. This is the reason that you can support one candidate and not the other. This is the reason you can support Elizabeth Warren or Scott Brown. This is the reason, because veterans fought for that right, and this is their room and their building. And the room down the end that says Mayor's Reception Room should say the people's room. It isn't the mayor's, it's the people's. This room is not ours, it's theirs. Having said that, I will continue this motion and leave it on the floor for people to say a word. And if they come up and they bash me, because I know that they will, go ahead. You have a right to do that, because this is a great country, and I welcome you to do it. It's okay, just as I'm doing my civic duty. Having said that, I'm not tabling this motion. I'm bringing it forward next week. But please know this. I am a mother. I have compassion. I know people have shortcomings. I'm not perfect. I have shortcomings too. I make mistakes. I can't be everywhere. I was a mayor once too. I didn't attend everything. But when I did, I designated it to somebody else. I understand the mayor's not here today. That's all well and good. That's fine. Everybody has a right to that. So I say that, bring them down here, let that happen, and I want you to know that this is an apology. If I bring this motion and we all support it, and the mayor comes here next week and reads this apology right off the bat, because he's supposed to attend to next week, I don't want it thrown on my desk like a piece of mail that I got from everybody else. But if he can come here next week and read this and apologize, not to me. Nobody owes me anything. Nobody owes me an apology. But they do owe the public that watch the council meeting, not tune into a blog, but come here and watch the council meeting or see it from their home. When he can do that, I will withdraw the motion, because if someone says, I made a mistake, I'm very sorry, I forgive you. I can forgive you. You don't owe me anything. You owe people. And that's the gist of this motion. Not to create a circus. I certainly didn't want that. We have a lot of important things to get on the table, and this probably isn't one of them. I think he has learned his lesson. I think he has apologized, but I don't want it thrown on the table and maybe delivered by a family member. I would like him to come here next week, say what he has to say, and I will drop this motion, because I think he made a mistake and he's sorry. But until that time, I want to see him here. I haven't heard anything. I don't know of his plans, and I'm not going to discuss anything, and I won't discuss anything. I will accept his apology, not with a piece of paper on the table, but up there like a man, like a gentleman. I made a mistake. I've made many mistakes, and I may continue to make more. I don't mean to hurt anybody. Maybe he didn't mean to either, but I have to hear that. I don't want it thrown on the table. That's the gist of the motion. You can open it up to the public. You're welcome to come down at that podium and state your case, and I'll be woman enough to listen. And if I did make a mistake and offended anybody, please know how very sorry I am, and I'm not afraid to admit it. Thank you very much.
There are several people registered to speak. Clerk, if you read a
I'd
name.
like to speak first, Mayor.
Oh, okay. Councilor Elliott.
Thank you. I support Councilor Mercier's motion. I think it's the right motion. I think she said it very well. But I believe it's time for the mayor to do what's best for the city, and I think it's time for him to resign. For a year and a half now, he's not done the job as mayor. And I also think it's sad it's come to this point that we as an elected body need to take this action to spare the city any further embarrassment. The mayor's role is to bring people together. And each mayor that I have served under has really tried to do that. The mayor of the body is supposed to be the figurehead of our city. He or she is to act as a liaison between the city council, the school committee. The mayor is supposed to keep the council informed and communicate to us, our colleagues, on issues taking place in the city. To this day, we've not even received one communication on his whereabouts or his plans. I think it's just a common courtesy. He doesn't have to answer to us. But the mayor is the public face of this city. Supposed to make us proud, an ambassador of goodwill to all of our ethnic and cultural groups. The mayor has not done this. I've been here for 16 years. I've attended hundreds of meetings in this hallowed chamber. You know, I have been on the losing end of the mayor's vote probably more than anybody here. You know, yet after it's all said and done, I believe and I think that each one of the individuals that have held the position, they've held it in high regard. They did the work. They struggled through the long hours, but they respected each one of us as individuals, and the mayor has not. His comments about the council's lack of intellect are insulting and they are demeaning. We've had many spirited debates in this chamber, but our disagreements are left at the door after the meeting. I've never heard a mayor publicly degrade or belittle their fellow councilors outside, on the radio, anywhere. And I tell you, it's hard to forget when you learn that Mr. Murphy went on a local radio station and states he's looking forward to spending more time with people that have a higher level of maturity. That says it all to me. The same people, he said, who have not accomplished much. So I say, if the mayor thinks the council is so inept, why would he want to remain the captain of this team? He doesn't. And this city should have someone representing us that doesn't delight in insulting us. And there's a pattern. He has shown disrespect to the Greek community more than once. One morning I received a phone call from someone that drives into Boston very early, a constituent from Lowell. And he didn't see the council meeting before, and he asked me, there's a radio station making fun of the city and the mayor as to what happened last night about breaking doors in City Hall. I tell you, I was embarrassed. And I had to turn it on to hear it myself. So whether it's disparaging blog posts about our position on issues, inappropriate comments at events, even it's a roast, I understand, or to me, complete contempt for the Greek community, I don't think we need any more reasons to conclude that he should not be in the position any longer. Thank you.
Any other counselor at this time? All right, we'll have the registered speakers. Mr. Clerk, please call the first speaker.
Jeffrey Feldman.
And please, there's lots of people here, so if everyone could keep it to under 5 minutes. And
Yes, sir.
thank you.
My name is...
State your name and address,
Yeah.
please.
Okay. My name is Jeffrey Feldman. I live here in Lowell, Ward 3. I'd like to say I really appreciate the two counselors that spent time with me on this issue, you, Marty, and you, Mr. Leahy. that is the kind of government that we should have, where even though we don't agree, we reach out. I have worked in high technology in this area for over 35 years. I've served as chief architect at ATEX, reporting to the chief operating officer, sadly in England. I've worked for Digital Equipment Corporation on 2 of their largest computer systems during the 80s, working on a high-tech project they had out in Silicon Valley. I know what CEOs look for in a government. And this kind of rancor, which has been created, is not it. I don't think that any CEO I know would care about anything that Mayor Murphy has done. And that really is my issue. If you have an issue with the mayor, you're free to join on the blogs. You're free to write an op-ed in the Lowell Sun. You're free to say anything you want. As for the Greek community, if they had a protest about some of his behavior, particularly in regards to the founding philosopher of democracy, I probably might have joined them. But this is not the instrument. This is not the tool if you're dissatisfied with the mayor. The instrument for removing a city councilor or a mayor who hasn't committed a felony is in November. And we will be participating. Many of you know me, many of you worked by my side in the Warren campaign, and I think you can see how we shifted from 5% for Scott Brown to 17% for Elizabeth Warren. We're working now on the Markey campaign. We have a wave of activism, which I think you all, as politicians, should be very pleased about. We have 10,500 person turnout in Lowell, which is actually an embarrassment. I'd like to see the people who are here a year from now much more heavily represented, and that's my goal. And I do not appreciate this kind of emotion. What I heard from both Councilors Elliott and Mercier was a lot of personal hurt. Well, sirs and madam, that's none of this chamber's business. If you're personally hurt, you're personally hurt. But that's a difference between your work here as a counselor. And so I would call upon you all to not vote for this motion. I don't think it should have been made. As you will hear tonight, there are a lot of people who would agree with me. Rita Mercier, you very well said and quite clearly your belief in democracy. I think you're going to see it tonight, and you're going to see it in November. So I think that's all that I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Raymond Russell.
Hello, my name is Raymond Russell. I live at 984 Bridge Street. When I read the March 26, 2013 Tuesday edition of the Lowell Sun, quote, Mercier seeks no confidence vote for Mayor Lowell, I knew I had to come and defend the mayor. These are the reasons why. I moved to Lowell from another state 13 years ago. Mr. O'Murphy was and still remains the only person in this town who came to my home, knocked on my door, and introduced himself as a candidate of any kind. In this case, it was city council. We spoke for a few minutes. He listened to me and my concerns, and the issue, a street matter, was resolved. While working for the Warren campaign, Mr. O'Murphy came to campaign headquarters, gave a pep talk. Remembering meeting me, he came and spoke to me, and I gained a lot of respect for him. On the street where I live is a property where neighbors of mine, hardworking people, have had problems and receiving no relief. I spoke with Mr. O'Murphy, and we got the help we needed. This is a fact. If you do not believe me, ask my neighbors, one of which is here right now up there. As I read the Sun further, I saw that there were more complaints against the mayor. Quote, Counselor also said she has gotten negative feedback about the mayor from different members of the community and decided action needed to be taken to make clear the council takes the public's concerns seriously, unquote. Nobody spoke to me. This town, like most, has a lot of problems. We as a community need to address them, some too controversial to discuss at this moment. We need fresh minds to move this nation's changing demographic. I disagree with Madam Councilor's position on this matter, while I like her, and I do. The reason I am here is to support a mayor who gave me support when it is not seemingly available to people where I live. Mr. O'Murphy demonstrated he got it. When I spoke with him, he heard me. Mr. O'Murphy, if you should choose to run and seek a different office, I want him to know he has a supporter in me. The best of luck to him. I want the best of luck for his wife and his new growing family. And I thank you all for listening. Thank you.
Judith Durant.
Hi, I'm Judith Durant, and I live at 50 Viola Street. And when I heard that Councilor Mercier was bringing this motion, the first thing that came to mind was the adage that people who live in glass houses shouldn't toss stones. I attended an appreciation breakfast with my 81-year-old mother, at which Councilor Mercier was a speaker. And we had to listen to what I will call a horoscope of the 12 zodiac signs, including one where everyone born under a certain sign is a prostitute and is going to die of syphilis. My mother and I were not the only two people in the room who were totally embarrassed by this, this display. However, this is conduct unbecoming our elected officials, but I don't think that it's cause for removal of office, of booting anyone out of office, and that's really all I have to say about it. And for the record, Dick Howe did not ask me to come and speak tonight. I came on my own. Thank you.
Richard Howe Jr.
My name is Richard Howe Jr., and for more than 40 years I've been a close observer of this city council, and in that entire time I never remember a motion of this type being pursued by another council. And given all of the outrageous comments and offensive conduct committed by some who have occupied this chamber previously, the complete absence of this kind of motion from the historical record is striking. And so what is it about the mayor's conduct that prompted the filing of such an unprecedented measure as this? Well, as I understand it, a couple of weeks ago at the St. Patrick's Day breakfast, he committed the offense of not being very funny. On other occasions, he's failed to introduce his colleagues on the city council at public events. He omitted their names from citations. Some were upset that he didn't wear a suit and tie to an occasion they thought warranted it. And then there were the more ambiguous complaints about lack of respect and failure to communicate. Well, in my experience, complaints about respect and lack of communications aren't about respect or communications. They're code words about other grievances, and I suspect that's the case here. One of the reasons I admire Mayor Murphy is the way that he has drawn so many new people into the political process in Lowell. Young people, old people who've been left out, people of color, people of every class, race, and orientation. An entire cohort of new participants who are all very different, but they all have this in common. They value substance over suits. They put policy above protocol. For them, this motion is an unmistakable message from those who hold power. You can participate in our process, but only on our terms. Voting for this motion sends the wrong message. It's damaging to the future of the city. It's contrary to the best parts of our heritage, and it should be put to an end tonight, and I urge you to vote no.
George Zaharoulis.
Thank you. Mr. Vice Mayor and City Councilors, I would like to introduce a couple of different groups that are here from the Greek community. We have the Greek American Vets. We have the Federation of Hellenic Societies of New England. We have the Miney Society. We have the Laconians. We have the Messenians. We have the Acadians. We have the Eleans, and a host of others. We were offended by what is presently on the Facebook with the mayor and the bust of Pericles. It is with great regret and disappointment that an issue has arisen that must be addressed. I was quite upset to learn that the mayor of Lowell decided to use an official commemoration from the Greek American community as a prop to mock our heritage. Please underline the word mock. Lowell was one of 4 largest Greek communities in the United States. Lowell was affectionately called and known as the Acropolis of America, because at one time Lowell had the greatest percentage of Greeks in the United States. Lowell holds a prominent place in our immigrant story of Lowell. The inscripted bust of Pericles was given to the city of Lowell by the Greek American community in appreciation and respect. And I take exception to the last speaker about respect. It was treated by the previous mayors as in a respectful manner. It was accepted to be placed in the mayor's reception room on the mantle opposite the great portrait of President George Washington, the founder of democracy with the first presidency of democracy, 2 of the greatest leaders of historic democracy. This likeness, this commemoration from other immigrant communities, whether it be placards, engraved stones, or inscriptions, statues, was to be displayed and maintained in the same way as our friends, with respect and dignity for the sacrifices, the struggles, and successes of each in our communities. And if you take a good look at the struggles and the sacrifices that the Hellenes of Lowell have made, take a look at your squares. Take a look at some of your monuments. Sadly, that has not been the case with the Greek commemoration. I enjoy a good joke, like everybody else does. However, the mayor's attempt at humor broke the bounds of mutual respect for a community of Lowellians and beyond. Please accept my request that it be not used as a prop for any future mockery directed at the Hellenic American community. The city of Lowell prides itself as a city of diversity and mutual respect. It is troubling that a mayor would send a message of respect for all but one. I thank you for this time, and that you will do what you have to do and whatever you feel is needed. Please ensure that this is something that will not happen in the future, so that we might return to Lowell's message of respect for all. Thank you very much.
Lou Dimitriakis.
If I may, I didn't come here with a prepared speech, but I do want to speak on behalf of myself and all of the silent Greek community that is not here this evening. I was appalled by the behavior of the mayor at what he had done at the old court. Let me just say this, that incident was not a Saturday Night Live comedy act. And it was put in the Lowell Sun where everybody could see it. And it denigrated an ethnic group. This should never happen with an ethnic group or a racial group. The mayor is there to represent the city in its best light, and it certainly didn't do it that evening. I couldn't add any more than what Mr. Zaharolas has already said. I'd only be repeating it. I am not a resident of the city. I do have a law office in the city, and I practice law in the city. And let me just say this, that if this were a corporation, the board of directors would have a vote of confidence, and you can rest assured yourself actions would have been made. Thank you.
Carol Carbonell.
Good evening. I'm a recent resident of the city of Lowell. I moved here about 3.5 years ago. My son has a apartment. He owns a condominium down on Jackson Street with my daughter-in-law and his child.
State your address, please.
Excuse me?
State your address, please.
My address is 309 Pawtucket Boulevard.
Go ahead, continue, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say that I love the city of Lowell. And I look around here and I see the difference here and from other communities along the Merrimack River. You've done a wonderful job here. I look at the river, the things that have been improved, and a lot of this came from, I assume, I could be wrong, from Paul Songus and his connections in the Greek community. But I don't think that the mayor intended this kind of a flap to occur or disrespect. I really don't. I'm part Irish, I'm part Polish, I'm part French, I'm part German, I'm good old American all the way back to the Mayflower. We've all borne insults and disagreements, and some things just simply require an apology. Not a removal from office, not a vote of censure, but an apology. The Greek community has done a lot for this city. And like I said, and reiterate, I really admire that. The Greeks have a history in democracy, and it would be unfortunate if they backed this kind of a democracy. It really would. So I say to the leaders of the Greek community, go ask Mayor Murphy to apologize to you, because it upset you. And I think I've borne a lot of Polish jokes, I've heard a lot of Irish jokes, and people have apologized to me. I never asked for anyone to get fired. I come from the city of Boston. Believe me, we've got a lot of Irish jokes that go around down there. So I ask you to vote for not yes on this no confidence vote. And if you're upset, handle it the way people handle things that they're upset about, not make it this kind of a diatribe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda Kopp.
Yeah, name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Linda Kopp, and I live at 309 Pawtucket Boulevard. And I'll be very brief. About 45 years ago, my dad started a business over on Bridge Street, the Modern Key Shop. So at that time, the city was in very ill repair, let's put it that way. There were a lot of buildings falling down, there was a lot of gang violence. Even Bridge Street could be kind of dangerous. We had the Hells Angels across the street, and actually they were protection from some of the other elements that were around at that time. And then Paul Songus came along in the Lowell Historical Society, and they got money together, and they started rebuilding and revitalizing the city. And I just saw such a transformation then, and even now, it's amazing culturally what we have available to us. But the only thing I wanted to say was, before you take a vote of no confidence, let's let it be for the job, the policies that are being pursued. Let's not let hurt personalities get in the way of what the job is supposed to be about. I realize that everybody has their issues, but it seems like there's a lot of issues among you that are more of a personal nature rather than a professional nature. And one of the things that I've done a lot of canvassing, and you talk to a lot of the voters, And what the voters see is, gee, politics is nasty and it's dirty, and they don't want to get involved. And when you see these kinds of things going on, it doesn't look good for anybody. I think that if you can maybe look at what your issues are and maybe some of them behind closed doors, that might be the way to resolve a lot of issues. I mean, I think I give all of you all the credit in the world because it takes a lot. You give a lot of your time and your energy to do something for the city. And I know that every person here means well. But all I ask is that perhaps you could look at this, try communicating with each other a little better, and then decide, is it really the job that you're concerned about? Is it the personality? What is it? And can it be resolved? Because as I see it, the mayor is only going to be here a short time. It's only a few more months. Why not just get back to the business of the city? That's all I want to say. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Jim Peters.
There are times that transcend simple political tricks designed to embarrass a man who, by his own admission, is not even a player anymore. A wedding, perhaps a funeral, and a birth all do exactly that. They transcend those people who want to play politics while you are trying to do what God has commanded you to do, such as be a new and good parent. Mayor and new father Patrick O'Sheen Murphy is at that point in his life. He's already decided that politics is not in his immediate future. He has already decided that he wants to live life as a private citizen. He has already decided that he is a husband and father first and other things are second. Patrick is the extremely proud father of a new baby boy, but instead of getting accolades, he is getting politicized in a way that few in this city can do. There are those among you who are more interested in getting written up in the newspaper tomorrow than they are in being interested in the beat of this incredible city. Luckily for us, Patrick O'Murphy is not one of them. I approached Patrick to be mayor about 1.5 years ago. At that time, he was very reluctant to do it, and I told him that I was most concerned with the 7th vote on the school committee. He went after it, and he did it, I think, because he thought it was his duty. Not because of any great desire to be the youngest mayor in plenty form of government, but because he could do not just do for the school department, for things for the school department, but because it was his duty. So what have we been exposed to with Patrick as mayor? An apolitical school committee, a forward-thinking city council, and a mayor who did not allow politics to get in his way. Patrick did not break the glass door window, I firmly believe that. But as I told him, it would not be a bad thing to be known as the mayor who got so frustrated with the city council that he did. He did not agree with me, by the way. Patrick will be a citizen in a few months. Let him be a citizen and a father. Don't give in to your baser instincts and continue this thing. You're all better people than that.
John Connington.
Evening. I'm Sean Connaughton. I live at 85 Richardson Street, over in Centerville. I'm a 2008 Lowell High School graduate, a U.S. Army vet, and a college student studying biology here in Lowell. Here tonight to support the many forward-thinking policies stemming from this, the City Council in collaboration with the current city administration. Policies such as Lowell City Stat program. Its data-driven decision-making has proven that the city's operations can be more cost-effective while keeping a full complement of city services. Support policies such as performance-based budgeting, because city should prove why it needs the taxpayers' money and how it puts that money to good use. Here in support of integrating capital investment costs into the city's budget, developing short and long-term goals that will play out the taxpayers' terms, as opposed to reacting to chronic issues as they crop up, as well as a city that understands how energy efficiency, water resource management, recycling all mesh together to provide a sustainable and improved quality of life. Finally, here to support a broad spectrum of civic participation, captures the spirit of Lowell's famous folk festival, because no one here would say Lowell's at 100% if anyone's hesitating to enter the front door of our city hall. Before the City Council votes tonight on Councilor Mercier's motion, I would ask them to reflect on the good that can come out of this very room. It's my sincere hope the City Council continues to focus on what unites Lowell, not what divides it. There's more important work yet to be done. Thank you.
Greg Page.
Good evening, Mr. Vice Chair. Greg Page, 200 Market Street. As I think everyone here knows, Patrick and his wife just celebrated the birth of their son. And I know that at some point in the future, it could be, I don't know, 10 years from now, his son is going to ask me, my dad was the mayor. What was that like? And you worked with him, and tell me about it. And what I'm going to say to him is that as mayor, Patrick worked tirelessly for the city. He was routinely at 2, 3, sometimes 4 events in a single night, and then he'd be back up at 6 o'clock the next morning, either to do an appearance or do another event for the city or earn his living. And that always impressed me about him, and he always did that not with an eye for the flashbulbs of the media cameras or for any particular person's attention, but because he thought it was the right thing to do. And the other thing I'm going to say is that he opened the doors, both literally and figuratively, to all kinds of groups of people that previously didn't feel comfortable or didn't feel welcome inside some of those very places. And by the time we have this conversation, my prediction is that the demographic makeup of this body and of just this whole chamber is going to be different. And I'm going to say that that was a big step in making that happen. Now, a cynic might say, well, Patrick might have done that and reached out to those people and built that coalition for his own political base, but a cynic would be wrong, because that's, as has been said, Patrick's not running again this fall. So I would just say that there are people that fear that change, and there are some that would reject that. And I think the very thing they would reject is becoming the cornerstone of what will be a new era in the city's politics. Thank you very much.
Senglei Kang. Kong, excuse me.
Well, I'm Senglei Kong. I live on 1018 Lund Drive, Lowell. And I come here as a resident of Lowell, and I come here to support the whole package, mayor package, which includes Mayor Murphy and his policy and leadership. And he's the mayor who really reached out to the Cambodian community. He's the mayor that has a number of policies that help Cambodian community. For example, he championed the initiative to renovate one of the Clemente Park, where a lot of Cambodian community, especially those who love volleyballs, to come and play every day. That improve their health. And also unity in the community too. And another policy is to create a Cambodia town. Cambodian community was forgotten for quite some time until Mayor Murphy, under his leadership, and also all the councillors here, adopt a policy, appropriate the money to for the designation of that special district for Cambodian community, and potentially that's going to attract tourists to come to the city, create more jobs, more tax for the city. And I really respect greatly Councillor Vida Mercius. I like her comment always. She comes to the Cambodian community, says that, well, she probably doesn't have money to go to Cambodia, visit Angkor Wat, the great temple where I was from. But we brought Cambodia, we bring Cambodia here for her. So I really appreciate that very much. And then I think that Councillor Mercius and Patrick Murphy have the same philosophies toward this development. So why don't we just work together? And he has only 9 more months to work, and then let's give him a chance and make a difference in ethnic minority, community like Cambodian community. And, I was told that I just moved to Lowell 2006, and then I was told that this kind of offense was not really the first time. I heard that the previous mayor used to make a comment regarding Cambodian community. He said, why don't you send them back to Cambodia? And then I didn't remember that there wasn't any action at the city council. So why don't we create a precedent? And I really agree with a lot of people here that why don't we just ask mayor to apologize to our great Greek community here. So that's, and move on, and then get the business of the people. So that's pretty much it, and thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Ratha K. Ratha K? Aye, excuse me.
I'm so grateful to be here this evening. I'm one of the new residents here in Lowell. I just tell you one thing, Mr. White Mills. I'm here new, but I'm feel so welcome because of my wonderful mayors, Mr. Mophius. I come here tonight is just would like to show gratitude to support him, whatever that he had done for us here in the city of Lowell. One day when I stopped by here in Lowell, I did not expect to stay here, but I met, he wasn't mayor yet at that time. And he shook my hand and said, welcome to Lowell. And, I was kind of surprising me. I really feel, he might be my final destination to stay here in Lowell, because my leader is kind of very humble, and he engaged to each community here in Lowell. He is kind of diverse. A lot of people from different places in the world. So I know that people make mistake. Even me, I'm not perfect. I know that my mayor's not perfect too. But you know what? I come here like almost 2 years right now. I just tell you one thing. When I walk down every single day from my office down here, on Merrimack Street, I see something change since Mr. Mayor took the office. That's I believe it, because I see it. So I do not know something else, but I know that the road is a little bit clean, and so he did his job. So I support him, and then I want him to stay in the office until this term. And thank you.
Liana Kushai.
Hello, my name is Liana Kushi, and I live at 390 East Merrimack Street. I moved to Lowell in 2009, and I've really loved living here. I find it really inspiring, engaging place to live. And I was really excited when Patrick Murphy won City Council, and just his whole campaign was really inclusive and engaging, and I've really appreciated the policies that he's pushed forward and his presence at all these local meetings that I've seen him at. And I find this motion extremely discouraging and disheartening as a young person living in this city. And it makes me feel like I don't want to be as involved in the political system, and I'm really disappointed and against it. Thank you.
Emil Karula.
Good evening. My name is Emil Caravilla. I live at 388 East Merrimack Street. I've lived at various places across this country and abroad, but when I came to Lowell a few years ago, I really saw something different. The people, the places, the culture, the food, there was something really different about this city. And when Patrick Murphy became the mayor, it really got me excited, and really got me excited about the process. I think he really created a unique energy in the city that I haven't seen anywhere else. And it's extremely disappointing to see this motion here today. And to be honest, it's that energy and excitement has faded a little bit. And I feel that the city is stronger than that and it's better than that. And I support Patrick Murphy, Mayor Patrick Murphy in this, and I really hope the city can become united in this and move past this. Thank you very much.
James Ostis.
James Ostis, 112 10th Street. I am a lifelong resident of Lowell. My great-grandparents came to this country from Greece, and my family has stayed here through the generations. There is no one who is more proud of my heritage as a Greek American, and especially a Greek American in Lowell, and all the contributions that have been made. But I feel really it's so difficult to come up here to have to defend a person I know personally against accusations of being a bigot. Patrick Murphy has no animosity against an ethnicity. I know that, and I think everyone in the room knows that. It's just politics, and I think he's made some mistakes, and he made a huge mistake. And I'm getting my picture taken now. And look, it was a mistake. He made a bad joke, and I can't condone his joke, and I can't necessarily criticize his joke because all my jokes are bad too. So, but it's no joke. I mean, the contributions of the Greek American community are no joke, and I know that Patrick Murphy does not believe it's a joke either. I know, in a way, I'm kind of taking a little bit of a risk here to speak this way, but I just feel that it has to be said. I don't speak for anyone but myself. I don't represent a community. I'm not a prominent person. I'm just a regular Lowellian like Liana and Emil and others who care about this city going forward. And I just think that there's issues of stubbornness and poor communication. And if we can get past that, there's nothing this city can't accomplish. And I really hope that this message is delivered with the utmost respect for all those who disagree with me. But I just think it's time to move forward, and I hope the motion is defeated tonight. Thank you.
Ken Harkins. Ken Harkins.
Good evening. I'm Ken Harkins, 110 Bigelow Street. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman, for letting us speak. Thank you, Councilor Mercier, for bringing this motion to the floor. I support it. To clarify a few things, I moved here in 1967, and looking around the room, I see a lot of people don't remember what Lowell was in 1967. And I saw a council that worked together. They had a leader who communicated all the way through. Everybody says communicate. A leader has to communicate. We don't see that coming from this mayor. No other mayor that I know, going back to Mayor Sampson, going back to Dick Howe, or any of the other mayors, have ever had to have this type of motion because they were professionals, they were leaders, they communicated. That's what's happening here. People come in and say, oh, we did this. He failed to communicate. He did not recognize the Greek community. I'm Irish. He stood out there and he had the vice chairman of this place read a proclamation that said the Greeks brought tzatziki and moussaka. Ladies and gentlemen, they gave us our democracy. That's what they gave to this country. The other stuff was good to eat. But by golly, if they hadn't given us democracy, we wouldn't be eating that food. So there's never been this kind of a motion brought before. I support the councilor on it. I support Councilor Elliott on it. I ask you to be the people to discipline your CEO. He's goofed. You have to have the guts to discipline him. Thank you.
I think it's Nancy Slater.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Francie Slater. I live at 200 Liberty Street. And I'm a relatively new Lowellian. I moved here 3 years ago. My husband and I moved to Lowell out of convenience. We both were commuting out of the city to our jobs in Cambridge and Manchester, New Hampshire, and Lowell was the obvious place to settle ourselves right in the middle. Since that time, we've fallen in love with the city. We both left our jobs elsewhere and settled ourselves here. My husband is an artist and has his studio at Western Ave, and I've started a nonprofit initiative here in Lowell as well. So we are committed to this city, and what we see happening here is very inspiring. What we feel happening in terms of innovation and the opportunities for people to get involved is really inspiring. And part of that inspiration and part of that feeling, I think, is in large part due to Mayor Murphy's policies and his leadership. And so I'm here to support the defeat of this motion with respect to the councilors. And I hope you can consider what it looks like from outside of the city in the region. I got a call from my husband last week when he heard on NPR that this vote of no confidence was coming in front of City Council in Lowell, and my heart dropped because I hate to think that the city that I love, that I call home, that I spend a lot of time championing and working to change the reputation of to outsiders would again show up in the news as another example of government that doesn't function. And I urge you to think about what the damaging public perception could be from this kind of unwarranted, in my opinion, unwarranted upheaval in the political sphere for a city like Lowell that has done so much work in improving the reputation in the past several years. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Paul Georges.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this issue. I hope the councilors understand that speaking in favor of Mayor Murphy...
Mr. Georges, just name and address, please.
Oh, Paul
Sorry.
Georges, I'm president of the United Teachers of Lowell, and I guess most of you know who I am. But I did want to say that speaking in favor of Mayor Murphy should not be construed by any of you as diminishing your contribution to the city. That's not my intent. But I do want to bring to your attention that the mayor has attributes that I think have been very beneficial to the city. I know on the education side, if it had not been for his intervention, we wouldn't have contracts at this point. Those are lingering problems that go on for an extended period of time with no benefit to anyone. He went to Cincinnati with us last May, Gene Franco, me and him, because the U.S. Department of Education thought there were some good things happening in the city as far as education and working collaboratively between labor and management. Took his own time to go for 3 days to Cincinnati. Wasn't easy for him to do. Since then, we've worked on the other initiatives that are out there, the district capacity initiatives that we've met with periodically, trying to put some initiatives that I think he's probably alluding to in his letter that he had sent to you, or got to you anyhow, and the Gateway Cities initiatives that are out there. He's been extremely instrumental and showed great leadership in that, and he also brings people in. Now listen, I understand people's feelings are hurt. I've been doing this 21 years. If I were to carry every single slight that I've ever been given over that 21 years, there'd be nobody I'd be speaking to in the city of Lowell, including the newspaper. You've got to be thick-skinned about this, and I know people make mistakes. Patrick Murphy is having his first child. Difficult pregnancy, we all understand that. I'm not making excuses for him, but I am saying there are circumstances that go beyond the normal realm that impact people's lives, and sometimes they may not show the best of judgment or the best choice of words. My concern is we don't make this a Jerry Springer moment. This doesn't go beyond this. That this be put to sleep. And I don't mean to sleep because and not acknowledge that this hurt. We hear that. But where's the system going? Are we better off now than we were 15 months ago? I think so. I see a number of contracts that have been resolved with municipal workers, including the city side. I think most of the taxpayers are happy. I think we've seen some real progress in turning around in the economy. I mean, I can even get along with the city manager on occasion. Miracles do it well. The point is, do we make this a Pyrrhic victory where someone has to win and someone has to lose, but everybody loses ultimately? Do we need to look at what's happening downriver with the reports almost daily about the dysfunction of city government there? I hope not. You know, I don't live here now, but I've worked here or lived here my whole life. Deeply invested in the city of Lowell. A lot of people have accused me of a lot of things, but I've always been very concerned about public education in this city because I think it's the most valuable component that we need to support. And sometimes I've been critical of people who don't support it well enough. But the fundamental issue is, are we better off now than we were 15 months ago? The mayor brings some remarkable qualities that include bringing young people in and paying attention to what's going on in the city. I understand the Greek community because I am Greek. Yes, I am. Chadropoulos. Born and raised on the corner of Rock and Willie Street, the acre was my territory. Most of the people that I hung out with were Irish and Greeks. In fact, I used to pride myself as being the Greek kid that knew more Irish tunes than most Irish guys. Okay, and I loved the neighborhood because the Greeks celebrated St. Patrick's Day and the Irish celebrated Greek Independence Day. It's part of my heritage, and I'm damn proud of it. I hope we can move beyond this. Is there some way we can move beyond this in some conciliatory manner where this doesn't drag us down? The focus needs to be moving forward. This is overreach, in my opinion. Listen, a year and a half ago, we had a major battle about health insurance. Bernie, I'm sure, remembers that well. And when the decision was made to go into Section 19 bargaining, and we decided to do it. The UTL had the vote. The city, school department unions had the vote of whether or not to go into that or not. If not, then it would have taken a vote of the city council to adopt a new law that would have been bloodshed here. I know that. Some of you thanked me because we were able to put a package together that protected the retirees and actually cost our members to some degree, but that wasn't the issue. The issue was there was a greater good to be achieved by moving forward. I'm asking you to do the same. Patrick Murphy has a lot of qualities that have been positive for this city. I understand people's sensitivities about these issues. It takes a bigger person, and I don't mean size-wise, to say move ahead than it is to delve and deeply entrench in a conflict that does nothing but diminish the greatness of this city and this community and its people. I ask you to consider that and not support this motion. I think it's extremely important we move forward as partners. That's all I've got to say, and I hope you consider that. Thank you.
Sovan Pav. Sovan Pav.
How's it going? My name is Savannah Poov. I live on 17 Fort Hill Ave, up the street. I'm here to support against the motion to release Patrick Murphy. Short story. A couple years ago, I met Patrick at an event, networking event downtown Lowell. He came up to me and he's like, "Hey, how are you?" I was like, "Hey, I heard you're the city councilor / mayor." And I was like, "Cool. So my name is Savannah. I live in Lowell, and the first thing I want to tell you is that I'm not going to talk to you about any political things. Because first of all, I don't really know much at that time about what's going on in the city and what he was involved with and stuff. And so he said, sure, I agree. So we talked about family and caught up. And a couple of events later, we met up again. And his character shined. He came up to me and he talked to me about my family again, but he also made an effort to go around the room and talk to not just myself, but my friends, family, introduce himself, tell them what he does in the city, and how he wants to move forward. And as a city councilor and as a mayor, I think that's very important that you made that extra effort and that step to approach folks that are not normally approached on a daily basis. I'm a young Cambodian American. I've been living in Lowell for the last 24 years. I'm a proud Lowellian. I've seen the city change so much. And I think since he's been mayor, I think a lot of positive things has happened. And I definitely want to be a part of the political process as well, but I don't want to be a part of a political process that can't work together. So I hope that, folks can come together, make the right decision, and do it based on the right thing that's been happening in the city. Thank you.
Naren Sanu.
Hello everyone, my name is Naren Sinuan. I live on 79 Hastings Street. I would like to thank you all for letting me speak. I am a lifelong Lowellian. I was born here, raised here, educated here. I've worked here for probably 10 years. I would like to say tonight that I am against this motion. I've supported the mayor. I supported much of the city councilors ever since I started getting into politics at the age of 18. I would like to say I was a proud supporter of Rita Mercier, but this motion tonight is, I want to say, discouraging to people of my generation who are growing up trying to get into politics now, trying to learn more about city government. And that's all I want to say, actually. Thank you.
Linda Balukovich.
Hello, I'm Linda Balukovich, 657 Merrimack Street. I'm just here because I'm against the amendment of, oh my gosh. I didn't bring a paper with me, but anyway, a lot of these people said a lot of fine things. And I agree, especially with the educational director over here. And I think they've said everything already that I wanted to say. Thank you.
That completes the list of registered speakers. Anyone on the council?
Yes.
Council Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. And I want to thank all the people that came up here and took their time to come up here and express their opinion. And I don't doubt very much that Mayor Patrick Murphy has support, as he should. He represents a younger generation, younger than me, but I'm not the one that divided this council. But I did make this motion, and I would hope that I would have the support of my colleagues to bring this motion forward for next week. I think there's a little bit of confusion. Nobody here this evening is voting for a vote of no confidence. This is not what it's saying. The motion is saying that we're referring this to next week so that the mayor could be here, because he's supposed to come back next week. I don't know if he is, but I'm asking the city clerk to invite him here if he has no intention to be here, so we can discuss this. I will put all this aside and not discuss one thing. I will remove this motion from the agenda if he can come up here next Tuesday and apologize publicly to the people that he has offended, because putting a letter on my desk is not doing anything for the people here in the Greek community and others in the community that he has slighted. I think that's being a man. I think it's being upfront. And that's all my motion is saying. We're not taking a vote on a vote of no confidence. We're not going to be removing the mayor anyway. We don't have any authority to do that. I know he has a short time left to go, but I don't want him to depart these chambers and start smashing us as he has been. Be that as it may, I'm just simply asking for my colleagues to support it so I can remove it if he follows the rules and comes up here and apologizes, not to me. He owes me nothing, but he does owe people an apology. And just putting this on my desk doesn't cut it. So there's no need to remove him. We can't do that anyway. There's no need tonight for a vote of no confidence. It's not on the agenda stated that way. So I'm still asking for my colleagues to please support that and give the mayor a chance to come up next week, publicly apologize to the people he's offended. He hasn't really offended me, but he's offended people that have told me all over the place. I could have filled this place. I didn't make one phone call to put people here at this podium. I didn't do it. Had I done it, we would be in line for another half an hour or an hour. But I will tell you this, I respect this position as a mayor. The mayor's position is a noble, respectable one. I believe when people say there's stubbornness here and there is other factors here, but I would like to put this behind us. I remember back to City Councilor Armin Mercier when he ran for the City Council and said, I want to be a part of the team. This is a team. At least I would hope that you get more done as a team. I didn't see that happening. So I hope we could have the mayor come here next week, apologize, and get this all behind us, as Paul Georges has stated. It's true. I don't want to hold any animosity to anybody. We have a job to do, and I want to do that. And now that he's clear on what our suggestions are, I'm sure he's sorry. I'm sure he can take the direction and lead this city till he leaves. And I just also want to congratulate the fact that he's a new father. Maybe he'll see things differently, but that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Council Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Well, if this is a team, it certainly resembles the September 2011 Boston Red Sox. Maybe absent the chicken and beer. But if we could have some of that brought in, I think maybe that would advance this discussion. There's been a lot said here that frankly is a little ridiculous this evening. We can talk about democracy and how much we all champion democracy, yet we have a democratically elected mayor here, and this whole process is doing nothing except to belittle and diminish the office, belittle and diminish the city, and belittle and diminish the process by which the mayor is chosen. There have been people in this chamber nipping at the mayor's heels since the beginning. Now, and some things have been said positively about the mayor. He does things differently than some of us would do. I've been the mayor. He's done things differently than I have done. He's brought different people into this process, which is something we should all be worried about and we should all admire. It's in the best interest of the city to have as many people voting in our elections as we can. And to the extent the mayor's encourage that, he should be congratulated for that. But to say that this is, we don't mean any offense. The mayor is the one dividing the council. It takes two people to have a disagreement. It takes two people to have a division. And then to dictate the terms on which we will all gladly then, brush this aside and let it go away is just wrong. It's not an accurate statement of what's happening here tonight. And then the notion that the mayor has gone out of his way to criticize other councilors, which he has done. He has done something that if I were him, I would have avoided. But it's certainly not anything new to this city council chamber. If you look back on the history of the council, the mayor's votes are 5-4 more often than not. Sometimes there is unity around the new mayor, sometimes not. But it takes both sides to come together, not one side. It's easy to say, we should have unity and do it my way. I think I've heard a lot of that here tonight. And it's not going to be everybody's way. It can't be, and it hasn't been in the history of the city. But I think what is different tonight is this vote attempting to take a vote to set up another process next week where we go through this again and then conclude that with a vote of no confidence is unprecedented here. We've heard that from one of the speakers. It's unprecedented. It's embarrassing to the city. I think it's meant to be embarrassing to the mayor, but the net result is it's embarrassing to all of us. It's embarrassing to all of us, and it shouldn't be tolerated. The mayor has made mistakes. He's offended groups. He's going to have to account for those mistakes to those groups. He issued a statement today that was left on our desks tonight. It was, I guess, posted on a local blog. One of my colleagues told me about that, and I read it. It sounds very heartfelt to me, and I'll just read briefly from it. It says, it has been my honor to represent you both as councilor and mayor. I've sought to make the most of your trust in me. As a fellow human being, I have come up short again and again, acknowledging mistakes. And there's certainly mistakes that have been had. There were attempts at humor, poorly executed, but I don't think maliciously intended. And we've had people from the Greek community acknowledge that as well. Yes, people are offended, and I'm certainly respectful of the contributions the Greek community has made. I don't think anybody here disrespects the Greek community or does not appreciate the contributions the Greek community has made. But I think it would be ironic indeed if we were to allow a dispute over a joke about a bust of Pericles, who's known to history as the first citizen of Athens, if we allow that dispute to be used as a justification for an unprecedented and undemocratic attempt to force someone from office.
Councilor Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I want to thank all the speakers stopping by tonight and speak on these matters. First, before I go into the issue, I'd like to congratulate Patrick with his newborn baby and his wife for the health that they're having. They're very healthy mothers and baby. 3-day-old. I wouldn't want to be in his shoe when this issue arrives, especially when your wife 2 weeks past due. Every husband, brother, fathers, aunt and uncle, human being basically, would worry. You worry about the health of your wife, your unborn baby. But I'm glad now that I want to congratulate him for that. These issues, why didn't he respond? You know, Mayor Murphy care. He care about the city. Some speakers spoke about some of the programs that he has, with council brought about, such as low static program that certainly saved the city a lot of money. Patrick opened the door of the city to every Lowellian. Underscore that. No community left untouched. Speaking of unity, unity is the word of art. It takes doing. It takes someone like Patrick to bring people together. And he's done that. He brings the young and the old together. The young to engage in the process. I have seen no others. In the Asian community, I can attest to that. A lot of young Asian Americans get involved. Partly it's not because of me, because before I was elected, he was the one who doing it. So those are some of the contributions he have done to the city. He doesn't want anyone in the city to be left unheard. He's only been in the council for what, maybe three years? He have done more than most here. Way more than most here. Lowell, I feel, is a city of family. Has always been and will always be. There's nothing good will come out of this motion. It will only make us, it won't make us stronger and unified. Remember, before the meeting of every council, we pray, God, make us, unify us and make us strong together. This is not going to do it. God not going to do it for you. You have to do it yourself. This motion really does not even have a place. Check in our city council rule. There's no place there. I checked, I knew. I can read. There's no place in the council rule. There's nothing in the council rule that said that would embrace this motion. Mr. Howe said he has witnessed, I believe him because his father was a veteran of this council, the infighting, the outrage in these chambers. There's nothing even like this happen. This certainly will set precedent, a terrible precedent for this council and for future council. If you disagree, you agree with me, you do it my way, it's okay. But if you're not, you know what? 2-3 months down the road, I'm going to pull a vote of no confidence on you. Is that how we want to operate it? Will we, as a city, grow from this? I don't think so. Mayor Murphy did. He did. I'm glad that he apologized. He issue an apology. If you have a chance, I know some of the speaker audience probably didn't have a chance, read that letter. It's very moving. It's very moving. I do not sincerely believe that he mean to offend our Greek community at that breakfast. And if he did, he issued an apology in the letter, very moving letter that he sent tonight. Why didn't he do it 2 weeks ago? Well, his mind probably not in this. I won't blame him. His wife passed due 3 weeks, 2 weeks and a half almost. So now he did. We must move on. Let's do the business of the city that we elect to do. I thank you.
Councilor Laurie.
Thank you. Before I start, I concur with Councilor Noon. I'd like to say congratulations to Patrick, his wife, his mother and father upstairs, his cousin Dan, his wife Denise. My family goes back probably, at least to my birth, even farther with the Murphys. But there's bigger issues here tonight, much bigger issues. Patrick was sworn in and I supported him. And people would come up to me, the mayor looks mad. You think? You ever hear the yelling and screaming? Yeah. He'd go to events in jeans. My answer was, he's not a chew and screw politician. He goes, he mingles. There's more to dress. He stands there, he'll stay there all night. And I was happy with Patrick's first term. I thought he was doing a good job. I was fine with him. But something's changed in the past 6 months, 7 months. It started with attacks on the councils, and really, I don't care. You want to take a shot at me, line up, you're going to be in line for a while. That doesn't bother me in the least. I've learned on this council floor, we take votes back and forth all night, and we leave it on the council floor. Maybe a big mistake Patrick has made. He can't do that. We have learned it. He needs to. You have to work as a council, and you work together, and you move on. A lot was made of the St. Patrick's Day breakfast. Patrick's attacks on me, I had no problem with it. I thought it was quite funny. Keep cutting checks out to the Boys and Girls Club. I'll be back next year, do it again. A lot was made of Patrick's performance, long, boring. I saw it in his own dry humor as a way of his take on the council, his frustration. Could be wrong, that's how I took it. But there's also been issues over the past several months. No one goes to more flag raisings than Councilor Mercier.
Councilor Noon, Councilor Mendonça, and myself. I missed a couple, but Patrick's missed a couple also with no calls. Complete disrespect to those communities. There were times, and I missed this one, no one was notified, no one had a key to the office. We're the people, and I wasn't there that day. Councilor Mercier hears it, Councilor Noon hears it, Councilor Mendonça hears it. St. Patrick's, I was there. I heard it, the same people heard it. And of course, Greek Independence Day. What Patrick did with that statue, you know, after the events of last year, where it should be, where it shouldn't be, taking that out of there and bringing it to the, I guess, the old court for a beer, you're dancing on a landmine, and he should have known that. Be that as it may, it happened. We keep on hearing the words tonight, the Greek community. Well, they're my friends, they're my family, co-workers. What Councilor Mercier has brought to the floor, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, is sticking up for our friends. I think anyone who knows Councilor Mercier won't argue with that. You push her friends, you push her buttons. And there should be nothing wrong with that with anyone here tonight. The mayor's friends are here defending him also. So let that be a standard here tonight. Everyone has friends, and that's fine. But what this has done has gone outside Lowell. One of the speakers said she heard it on NPR. That's not good. That's not good for the city. Patrick wrote an apology. Last Saturday or last Friday, I was talking to Lyle Moran. He says, "What do you think?" I says, "The guy has to apologize." Well, he did. Just some of the things, as Councilor Mercier said. As a human being, I've come up short and short again. I try to take myself not too seriously. If I've offended anyone, I apologize. Whatever fate the council decides for me tonight, I'll abide by. Well, I'm sure he will. For me, that's fine. I have no problem with this. I've had no problem with his remarks on the council floor against me. That's politics. But it goes beyond that tonight, and I'm ready to stand by my friends in the Greek community. They're here tonight. But what I do know is the people here tonight supporting Councilor Mercier's motion, they're very good people. They're very open-minded. I think there's an opening here. I talked to one, you might have seen me, an old friend of mine, Lou. We stepped outside. What would it take, really, to move beyond this? I know Councilor Mercier doesn't want this motion. She felt compelled, and she said tonight maybe there's something we could do. The mayor comes back next week, and I don't know how the people here will feel tonight. My suggestion is the mayor sits down with the people that are left, and I don't know if that's fine. Good? What I would suggest, and again, I can't speak for Mayor Murphy, would for the mayor to come back next week, talk to the community, hear what they have to say, and let's put this to rest. Do we want this motion filed? No. If we have to, we will. I believe the council is strong enough to do that. It monitors its own. It needs to monitor its own. Is this the right incident to do it? I don't know, but I'll stick by my friends, I'll tell you that, and I know Councilor Mercier will. What I propose and what I would suggest going forward, again, the mayor come back. I'm fine with this letter. He owed me no apology whatsoever. I consider Patrick a friend. I like him. If this is fine, that's fine. But what I'm asking the mayor to do, and I can't speak for him, is to come back Monday morning, Tuesday, reach out, meet with the Greek community, and let's just put this to rest. Thank you.
No other comments? Roll call.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was hoping that we could have come to some sort of an agreement without having this motion come up this evening. I feel as if the reason that we have this motion is out of frustration. And it's correct to say that it's not in the council rules, and it's not in the charter. This motion comes out of Robert's rules. And it does not cause the mayor to be removed or for anything to happen other than to be reprimanded, I guess would be a good term. But I think that we're here because of a lack of communication. I don't think there's a lot of animosity on this board. I don't feel a lot of animosity amongst the board members. I don't know if everybody on the city council can say that, but I certainly can. And I've served on city councils where there's been a lot of animosity. And I think that's one of the main differences here. I also don't think that we're here because of hurt feelings, and I don't think that we're here because of a bad joke. The mayor, Patrick Murphy, is elected to the city council by the people of Lowell. Patrick Murphy was elected mayor by this city council. You take the oath with the 9 councilors, and then after you're elected mayor, you take a second oath. And the second oath says that you will perform your duties to the best of your ability. And the duties of the mayor end up being go to the city council meetings and preside over them, go to the school committee meetings and preside over them, and to do the ceremonial functions that the mayor has done for years and years. If you are not going to the city council meetings and not sending notice that you're not going to be there, and if you are not going to school committee meetings and not sending any communication to them that you're not going to be there, and if you're not attending the ceremonies that you're supposed to, or when you do, you cause adversity, then you're not performing the job to the best of your ability. So I was hoping during the past week that we would get some sort of communication from the mayor, that we would get an apology from the mayor, and one came this morning, and I was glad to see it. I was glad to have it be on, or maybe it was this afternoon, I don't know, I think it was written this morning, but anyways, I was glad to see that it was on the desks this evening. Apparently it was, so that's a good thing, and I think that's a good step in the right direction. I think what this council wants or should want is not to be, and let me just say about the letter of apology, that although I think it's good and it's well written, it would have been good if there was an extra paragraph that was directed towards the Greek community. But I think, and there isn't, but maybe that's forthcoming. I mean, I think the mayor has been busy, and I would also like to congratulate him on the birth of his son. I think what this council really wants to do is to be corrective rather than punitive. And Mayor Murphy has 9 months left. When I'm on the street or when I'm in a supermarket or any place else, a lot of comments, and more than anything else, more than taxes, more than water bills or snow plowing or anything, the issue that most people ask me about is what's up with the mayor. But in recent weeks, those comments or those questions have turned from what's up with the mayor to what are you people going to do about the mayor? And so the mayor's actions, because he's elected by this body and because he's a member of this body, end up reflecting on this city council. But I don't think that the motion should be intended to be one of that's punitive. I think that what everybody wants, and I think they're frustrated because of a lack of communication, is for the mayor to perform the duties that he's supposed to during the next 9 months, and to come to the city council meetings and to go to the school committee meetings, and if he's not able to go, to just inform people that he's not able to go. And that maybe a little more thought could go into, or thoughtfulness could go into the ceremonies that the mayor attends. And if the mayor can't attend those ceremonies because of because of a conflict, there's the vice chairman who can go. And there are people on this city council, and Council Laurie comes to mind because he's retired, and Councilor Mercia too, who are just at everything every day. I mean, sometimes if I talk to Councilor Laurie, he makes me tired just telling me what he's done for the day. So those are people that can fill in for the mayor, and that's good. But it's the mayor's responsibility still to make that all happen, and to make sure that there's somebody there so that the city is represented, and represented in a positive light. So I would hope that we could move on from this without having to vote on the motion next week, and that we would continue with Mayor Murphy as our leader on this city council, and that everybody on this city council would be confident and proud to have him as mayor for the next 9 months. You know, Mayor Murphy is a young guy. He's only 31 years old. This is only his second term. He was young to be named mayor. I can understand him making some mistakes, but there are other mistakes that I just can't explain. And so let's try to leave on this, with this issue, just being corrective and trying to make sure that everything goes along better than it's been going so far. This isn't a one or two issue thing. This is a litany of things that have gone bad in the mayor's office for like 15 months. I think it's out of frustration that we bring the motion up. I think communication is our main problem here, and if we all communicated a little bit better, and if the mayor communicated with the council a little bit better, we wouldn't be here spending an hour and a half on this evening. We would just be moving on, and that would be it. That's all that I have to say.
Council Laurie.
Thank you. You know, I talked a little bit earlier about maybe doing this in a different manner, and I agree with Councilor Kennedy. I've never been one to kick someone when they're down, and you find alternative ways to do things, and this motion's made out of frustration that, as I've said, we've suffered as a council over. But what we have here tonight is I think there's a compromise. I've talked to some of the members here, and I said earlier if the mayor would agree to meet with them, and I think that's good. You know, Patrick is a pretty intelligent young man. I mean, he's a young man. I said to Paul George's walking in, you know, he and I have been through this 1,000 times in various forms, and I said, we've learned you don't go over a bumpy road twice, and Patrick threw it into reverse and went down without brakes and mirrors, you know, and with this situation here. But, you know, it is what it is, and I want to make a substitute motion. I've talked to Councilor Mercia. If the mayor comes back and he meets with the community and the members and sets up an appointment and sits down and talks, gets their point of view, and, you know, he's apologized here, but to sit down and talk with them, I'd ask that we drop this motion and just go on from here. This is no good for anyone. It's not good for the city, the mayor, the council, the people here tonight. So that's the alternative motion I would make. If Patrick comes back, if he can meet with the community, settle their differences, and we all go on. Thank you.
We have a substitute motion to request the mayor meet with the community.
Yes. Second.
Second by Councilor Mercer. Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. As I sat here listening to all the speakers, I took the opportunity to go back and look at all the emails that we had received essentially since day one when the mayor took office, and the way he handled himself in escorting an employee that have been here for years on a Friday afternoon, not allowing her to get her belongings. Moving on from that, I can tell you, this motion was not brought forward by Councilor Mercia just because of a prank that was done. We're not using code words about communication and disrespect just for the sake of it. It's not the first month. It's not the first year. And I applaud Council Mercia and I support her wholeheartedly for bringing this forward. We have a job to do. And part of that job is to make sure this governing body that makes laws runs appropriately. And if the person that's selected isn't doing that, then we have to take action to do something. And that's what we're doing. Make no mention about it. We all know there's been discussions for quite some time with counselors. We had hoped that things would change and that we would not have to bring this forward. Emails that I'm looking at are from people, and we represent those people as well. Maybe they're not down here coming to register to speak publicly. A lot of people don't want to do that. But whether it's at the Council on Aging, or whether it's in the supermarket, whether it's emails, voicemails, text messages, or whatever method of getting letters. We've gotten letters in the mail. It's our duty to bring it forward because we are supposed to be the representatives of the people. We're supposed to be able to speak up for those that can't or elect us to do so. And I think that's what this motion was about. To sit back and to do nothing condones the activity. And I don't believe that's what my role is, and I'm not going to let it, and I'm going to bring and do my job as I think that it's fit. So for the people that aren't here, that have sent us emails, that have communicated through us other means, we hear you, I hear you, and that's why we're bringing this forward. You know, the issue with the Greek community was over a year ago. It shouldn't have taken this motion to bring forward an apology. We make mistakes. We all make mistakes. Is it easy to apologize? No, it's not, but it makes you a stronger person. That's what I teach my kids. That's what I believe in. And while there's an apology on our desk tonight, why didn't it come beforehand? It should have, without bringing this forward. So I support your motion, Councilor Mercia. Nobody wants to be here. We do have many, many more issues that we should be focusing on, but this is also one of them.
Councilor Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I certainly wholeheartedly support a compromise. That's what it's all about. But I was compelled to bring this motion forward because I've seen so many instances where people were hurt. And I will name one instance without naming the people. I was asked a few weeks into November, like the beginning of November, to attend a particular event. I said that I would be happy to be there. I knew that it was on a day that I would be working, but I punched out so that I could go, and it would be on my time. When I got to this event, I saw 15 veterans in a wheelchair brought out into the cold because this was an outside event. The person said to me, "Is the mayor coming?" I said, "I have no idea. I'm really sure I don't know." This person said, "Well, the mayor said he would be here." I said, "I'm sorry, sometimes he's late. Maybe he'll be late." Well, all in all, it got so cold that people had to go in and bring out blankets to the veterans. The very people that fought for our democratic right. And we waited 15 minutes, and the mayor didn't show up. They asked me to speak. That was the morning that a very, very dear friend of mine was having his wake. And I could have said, you know, I'm too upset, I can't go at this. But I made a promise, I gave my word, and I was there. And I said, I'm honored to be here on behalf of the mayor. I wasn't there on behalf of the mayor, but to save face, that's what I said. The mayor never called and said, I won't be able to be there, or I'm gonna send somebody else. No call, no nothing, but a promise of being there. That was the beginning of why I made this motion. I could go on and on and on and tell you more, but I won't. In an effort to compromise and get this behind us, I think the point was made. We did get an apology, and if he's willing to sit down with the people he's offended, he don't offend me. I really don't care if he goes down whatever path he wants to, but he owes people an apology. And if he's willing to come forward Monday, Tuesday, I don't care, and they're willing to accept that, and they are. They don't want to be here to have animosity or at odds with each other. And I think that's a good compromise. I think this is what we wanted in the first place. I don't care if you hurt me, but when you hurt the ethnic groups, and there were many, not just the Greek people were offended, there were many other nationalities that were offended.
Quiet, please.
But the fact is that this is a very rich city, very rich in ethnic diversity. And when you slight one, you slight them all. And it has gone on for quite some time. I know because I'm there, and I'm just telling you. And so this is a great compromise, and I support it. So I hope we can put this behind us. Thank you.
We move the question.
Yep. Very good. Right. Motion to move the question by Council Kennedy, second by Council Laurie.
Can we read the motion?
The motion is to request that the mayor meet with the Greek community. That's the substitute motion.
And offer an apology to them.
That wasn't what it was.
What was it, Marty?
It was the motion was to request the mayor meet with the Greek community. Patrick being Patrick, there's an apology here. There's no doubt in my mind there'll be an apology in that. We have differences of opinion here, but Patrick is pretty much a man of his honor, his word. I have a lot of disagreements with Patrick, but I've never found him not to be of his word. So you could put him with an apology too. I know it's forthcoming if he meets with them.
So, state the motion, please. State the motion.
Excuse
Substitute
me.
motion.
I have allergies. I'm
Okay.
dying over here. And I get 7 motions down the road. The motion is have the mayor meet with the community and talk to them and, if he can, tell him he made a mistake and he apologizes, which he does here. So I think it'd be fine to put that in.
Second that motion.
Second. All right, Council Mercia seconded. She already seconded the substitute motion.
Roll call.
Okay, roll call it is.
Mayor Murphy. Councilor Nguyen.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Leahy.
Yes.
Councilor Laurie.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Mendonça.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Motion carries. Now that it's well after 7 o'clock, we have 2 public hearings.
Read up.
We have to do the public hearings. They will. I know.
That's what the problem is.
Councilors will take their seats, please.
Thank you. Okay.
Mr. City Manager? Raymond Keane says yes, hello. Thank you for your good form and chum.
All right, our first public hearing in City Council, an ordinance creating one new position of Director of Elections and establishing the salary in the election department. This is the second reading. We're going to open a public hearing for those wishing to speak in favor. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? In favor? That portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition? That portion of the public hearing is closed. What's the wish of the body?
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Councilor Noon.
Second.
Second by Councilor Mercier. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Mayor Murphy. Councilor Nguyen.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Leahy.
Yes.
Councilor Laurie.
Yes.
Councilor Martin. Vice Chair Mendonça.
Yes.
Councilor Mercier.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Next public hearing. This is a second reading in City Council. An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Lowell, Massachusetts, the code with respect to Chapter 266, entitled Vehicles and Traffic. Going to open a public hearing. Are those wishing to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? That part of public hearing is closed. Those wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition? That portion of the public hearing is closed. What's the wish of the body? Move
Is
to
this a
approve.
vote tonight?
Yes.
Okay, can I just find my notes? Does this have, this is for parking, this is to discuss, rates for events though, too?
No, this is just for the bagged meters when people reserve the meters to do construction. They need a space for,
Something in our packet later for that?
that's just to go to a public hearing.
Okay, all right, thank you. So, should I move to approve this?
Move to approve by Council Leahy, second by Council Laurie. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mayor Murphy. Councilor Nguyen.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Leahy.
Yes.
Councilor Laurie.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Mendonça.
Yes.
Councilor Mercier.
Yes.
8 yeas.
That concludes the public hearings. Next, we have communication from the city manager. Communication from city.
Excuse me, Vice Chairman? Can we
Yes.
take something out of order? We do have someone here in the audience. It would be General Petition 19.
Motion by Council Laurie to take a item out of order, seconded by Counselor Noon. All those in favor say aye. Any
Aye.
opposed say nay. Motion's carried. So we have general petitions, miscellaneous. James Mitchell requests removal of one handicap sign in front of 86 and 88 3rd Street. Motion to refer to traffic engineer by Councilor Mercier, seconded by Councilor Laurie. And we have the petitioner here. If there's no objection, we'll have Mr. Mitchell.
Yeah, my name is James Mitchell. I live at 88 3rd Street, Lowell. Purchased a home there. They have two handicap signs at 88 3rd Street, and they also have a driveway. I had talked to the engineer and everybody about the incident. I said, okay, you have two handicap signs, you got a driveway that have the capability of parking 6 cars, which I can show you the pictures of, 4 cars in there and another 2 spots for cars. It takes away my ability to park my car, and the city said you can have at least 1 resident parking, but that took that away when they put the other handicap sign there. And the solution to my problem was that I park in the driveway and I block my driveway. That was my solution. My significant other works 2nd shift. So when she comes home, or whoever, that means in the morning, somebody got to get up, move the cars, back out, and everything else. But the resident next to me has parking for not only for the residents there, but also for the visitors, if they come visit. To me, that's undue hardship to me. And according to my understanding, which I work for the Middlesex Sheriff Department, I do civil rights, diversity and civil rights. My understanding is that it's supposed to be a reasonable accommodation. A reasonable accommodation means that you look for a reasonable accommodation. We don't supposed to solve a owners who's renting out their properties, resolve their problem. They're supposed to look for a reasonable accommodation. And if they can't find it, then they come to the city. If he can park 6 cars in his driveway, and as I was looking at it and I tried to explain it to the engineer, I said, why can't he park his car in the spot right next to the house? You're talking 7 steps compared to 10 steps. I said, that's a reasonable accommodation. Or he can park at the back. When the engineer came out, he was talking to the guy in the back. He was coming in and out the back door. So why can't he park there? His answer was that we can't tell the owner what to do with his property. But I said, but the owner is also taking something away from me. And I think that's unfair to me. He's renting his property, I own the property, but I can't park a 2nd car there because they took that away from me. They say that you don't have enough space. I said, okay, he don't have enough space for 2 handicap signs. So he's actually on my property as well. If I parked, I'd be close to him. It's like in the middle. But he has 2 handicap signs, and he still has parking for 2 handicaps and a capability of 6 cars in his driveway. So to me, I said they took that capability away from me, and I don't think that's fair. And that's why I wanted to have one of the handicap signs removed. And as I understand, I'm not here to talk about the person's handicap, because I know we got the HIPAA law and everything else, so that's not for us to discuss. But as when he came out to talk to me, he said we usually come out and we talk to the people in the neighborhood. We talk to the next door and find out how they feel about, putting a handicap sign. I said, well, if you come in at 10 o'clock in the morning, most people are at work. I said, I'm at work, so how can you sit down and talk to me about putting a sign up? I just come home and I got 2 handicap signs. Now I can say, I got to look for a parking spot, which we know is limited parking on 3rd Street. Everybody got a resident parking, but I can't have it because they took that away. And now they got parking, like I said, for visitors as well as the residents. And to me, that's just unfair. And that's why I'm requesting to have one of the signs removed. That was it.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move that this matter be referred to the proper
Yeah,
department.
we already have a motion to refer to the traffic engineer.
Okay, but that the council get a recommendation, or a report on the resolution within 2 weeks? Is that reasonable?
Well, I amend the motion to add that. Seconded by Councilor Lori to amend the motion. Councilor Martin.
Yeah, Mr. Mitchell makes a reasonable point here, so, you know, someone shouldn't be allowed to monopolize the parking for the whole neighborhood. So I'll wait for the report back, but seems like we should be able to do something here.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion to refer to the traffic engineer and get a report back on a resolution, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion's carried. Back to the order of the agenda. Communication from city manager, responses to city council motions and requests. Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Mercier,
Chairman.
second by Councilor Kennedy. Councilor Kennedy.
Through you to the city manager, regarding number A, the verbal request by Councilor Kennedy for the Lowell stat. The report is good, I was glad to get it, but isn't there a way to quantify exactly what the city realizes? That's not included in the report. I mean, there is a...
Right, we put it in more general terms, but we can give specific examples, and we can add some of that to a subsequent report.
Okay, how long for that?
Take a couple weeks.
2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Thank you.
Councilor Leahy.
Thank you. On my motion on B for the Westview Road, I was glad to get the report, and it states in the report that there really isn't a significant safety issue, so I was glad to see that. Would anybody know, maybe through you to the manager, it was brought up by a few of as a concern by some of the residents in the past, but do we know if anybody did talk to any of the residents when they did the report? Were they satisfied that?
I don't believe that they did speak with the residents. And again, I think what's important to note here is that the report indicates the condition of the roadway as it exists now with the use as it exists now.
Yeah.
And I think the issue that has risen in the past is if there are any further developments in that neighborhood, then the existing conditions become more problematic.
Yeah.
So, but as it exists right now, as it's pointed out, if you want to put a sidewalk in or you need to straighten the road out at all to accept further development in the area or to, deal with some of those issues, that would require a widening and some trees being removed.
Right. But they were only really talking about a couple of feet, right, going from 18 to 20?
I believe,
Maybe?
right. If it was designed to go to 20 feet, which would be the maximum recommended width, right.
Okay.
It's only 18 now, correct.
All right, thank you.
Councilor Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. There was something in our packet about the Lowell's first annual licensed microchip and rabies clinic hosted by the Lowell Police Animal Control Division. Anyone that has pets, this is a great opportunity here. On Saturday, April 27th, from 10 to 2 at the Butler School, which is at 812 Gorham Street. There'll be the Lowell Police Department K-9 demonstration. Exotic animals will be there, but it's most important is that the rabies vaccine is $10, and to put a microchip in is $25. I think this is a good opportunity at a reasonable price. sponsored by the Lowell Police Animal Control Division. Dogs must be on a leash and cats must be in a carrier. This is sponsored by Petco, the Animal Rescue League of Boston, MSPCA. So many good things. The Lowell Police Patrolmen's Union, they're all sponsoring this, and I think this is wonderful, and I just thought that I would bring this up, and maybe we should bring it up again the Tuesday before the 27th comes, because this is that important. And it's an opportunity to license your pet, microchip your pet, and get you. I wish they would pull teeth, because my cat needs to have a tooth out, and I got to bring him down sometime this week. It's going to be a fortune, but I think this is a good thing. Thank you.
I have some questions about the response to my report. If Council Mercier would take the chair.
I have no objection to staying at.
Don't either.
Hey, Joe.
You can stay right there.
Sure.
All right, thank you for your indulgence. I filed the motion to get a report about the unaccepted streets because I personally sense a lack of progress in getting them addressed. And I had quite a bit of concern. And I think, given the report, I'm still concerned. I believe everyone received a communication that how many miles of unaccepted streets there were. And it was like 70 miles. And at the rate we'd be doing it, it would take over 100 years to address that mileage. And so I'm concerned that we need to be more aggressive in addressing these streets and getting them accepted and doing the work that's necessary. I do appreciate the progress that is being made. Also, in the manager's goals and objectives, it listed that there were 25 in the pipeline, 10 accepted to date, with 5 more by the end of the year. Now, in looking through the current year's acceptance, we've only done 4 streets so far. And of those, 2 of them were Richmond Avenue Extension and Canal Street. But those I don't consider as existing unaccepted streets. The Richmond Avenue Extension is putting the roadway through Rotary Park that we decided we were going to do. And the Canal Street is part of the Hamilton Canal District development. So only 2 of those are unaccepted. I don't see 10. And we have more on the list to do, but we have one of them already on this evening's agenda to accept, which is great. And then we have 3 others. So by my count, that's 6, not 10. And that concerns me. We need to do more. I was expecting more. And my intent in drawing attention to this is because there are people on these unaccepted streets that are in very poor condition that are thinking they're going to get repaved soon, but they won't with Chapter 90 funds until we get them accepted. And some of them are on this list, but they're years away still. And just yesterday, we got notice that Chapter 90 is going to be increased to $300 million. That's a 50% increase. But we won't see it for these unaccepted streets, just our existing mileage. Now, the memo we received indicated that maybe the payback isn't worth the effort, that this would amount to about 3 miles of streets. But over the course of the 6 years, we would achieve another 9 miles worth of worth of Chapter 90 funds. And every year after that would be another 3 miles. So eventually, as long as Chapter 90 exists, we would continue to receive higher amounts of Chapter 90 to address these streets. So I know we can't do it all in 1 year, and we probably couldn't do it in 5. But certainly do it at a higher rate so that it doesn't take 100 years to get through this backlog. And so my point in this is just, if the manager wishes to comment, that's fine, but I want to encourage a more aggressive approach to these in the goals for the coming year. Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. I appreciate your frustration, but in my view, we're not going to get anywhere on this backlog if we require every street that's accepted to be brought up to current standards or at least current engineering data. I mean, it seems that the votes that have come to us to accept streets are, even the street might have been there for 20 years, but they're still on the more recent end of streets that have been developed. The report says that. But we have streets that go back 50, 60 or more years. There's virtually no engineering data. And if we're gonna, and I don't know what the problem is. If the city's already maintaining that street, we're treating it as a public way, why don't we just vote to call it a public way? Why do we need to torture ourselves with, going out, re-engineering the street, crews of 3 people at a time when they have time, which is rare, it appears. I mean, is there not being critical of the engineers, they're trying to do things by the book, but the book was thrown out the window a long time ago for some of these more ancient streets, and I'm wondering if there's a better solution, particularly if it's going to result in more reimbursement to us.
Mr. Manager.
Let me respond in general to Vice Chair Johnson's comments. I concur that it's very frustrating that I've certainly noted in the past that that this is an issue that the administration flagged some time back, that we had this large number of unaccepted streets, and we have been trying to make it a priority. And I hate to just continue to point to one street as an example of that, but the one that always jumps to my mind is Technology Drive, that it took 20 years after it was completed for us to bring it into the council to have it done correctly. And we are putting money into the capital budget this year for this purpose, so that we can accelerate the process of doing the necessary engineering work. Interestingly, the additional information that we gathered in response to a question that Vice Chairman Johnson brought to us as to how many road miles we had and that were accepted versus unaccepted and so on. We were able to determine that we're right on average with many of the state, other communities around the state, and it's largely those older streets that the process has never been done correctly. I've certainly run into this in other communities that we have this problem, but we can certainly explore what other alternatives we have for those streets, and try to, as I said, we're setting aside money in the capital budget this year to accelerate that. We're also planning to set aside a substantial amount of money next year in the capital budget to do paving of streets that aren't covered by Chapter 90. So hopefully we'll be able to improve the road conditions, but also increase the number of road miles. But I certainly understand the frustration. As I said, we flagged this early on and have been trying to get at it, and it's one of those issues that when you let these things go for so long, it does become problematic.
Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think if we're going to wait for Chapter 9, we're going to be waiting forever. There's just, even if you double the money, there's just not going to be enough money for that type of thing. But I would suggest that there was a time, I think, in the early 80s when the city council bonded like $5 million to repave streets and did a lot. Now, to borrow money is pretty cheap right now. This may be a good time to take a look at whether or not the city has the capacity to do that, and maybe that would help to accelerate the process.
Mr. Manager.
Councilor, I agree, and that's again why we plan on doing that. That was the plan for next year.
Okay.
This year's capital budget, which we're working on, and that will be coming out in the next few weeks to the council, is primarily again focused on the buildings of the city, and less so on the streets. With the idea being that next year we would focus more on streets.
Councilor Laurie.
Thank you. To Mr. Moses, through the manager, last week we had the CPA firm who does our books, and I I was a history major, I have no finance. So I had a few questions on bonding. We had talked about bonding earlier in the year, putting the $4 million in the bank. He said we were bonded out to about 6%. We should be, and he says, really, if we go any lower, we're not doing our jobs. We should be bonding money for streets, parks, and maybe up around 10, 8%, 9% in that area. How much would we be able to bond? How much more money would we be bonding? To stay within limits.
Actually, are you talking about the statutory limit on how much we're allowed to borrow?
No, how much would we borrow? We're about 8%, 9%.
Or how much more?
Right.
Well, let's see. 2% of the budget, that additional 2% would be about $6 million of payment, so $60 million of bonding. But don't forget, you'd have to raise taxes to pay for that $6 million of debt service. The issue is not how much we can borrow, it's how much you're willing to pay back through taxation.
Well, I agree. And my question to him was, though, how much can we bond before, which in acceptable terms? It wasn't so much the payback. Thank you.
If I may, though,
Mr. Manager.
if I could echo Mr. Moses' comments, that really is when we set aside that money, for instance, in the stabilization fund, because it's good for us to build the reserves, because it obviously can be a cushion for us when there's dips in the economy or when there's dips in the taxes that we're assessing, and debt service for what we do bond goes up a little bit. We can use that to cushion it and keep the level of taxation at a certain point. Clearly, the city has, we have just within the constraints of Proposition 2.5, as we've pointed out on various occasions. 6 years ago, we were $5 million below that Proposition 2.5 level. We're now at about 10 million. If we follow through with our plan this year to keep the taxes level again, we'll be about $12.5 million below, roughly. $12.5 million could fund I'm not advocating that we do this, but it would fund a substantial amount of bonding, that we could do something like that. But this year, for instance, we're going to come in with, about $12 million? About $12 million worth of capital, and we anticipate $12 million again next year, which gets at Councilor Kennedy's point of trying to do more with for the roads. If we can do $5-6 million maybe next year for roads, that along with our Chapter 90 money, that will do a substantial amount of work here in the city.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion's carried. Thank you. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Leahy, seconded by Councilor Kennedy. In City Council, order of taking and acceptance of 14 Drive to take by eminent domain and fee certain parcels of land in the city of Lowell for municipal purposes, to wit, the layout and acceptance of 14 Drive and other municipal purposes associated therewith. Motion to refer to public hearing on April 23rd by Councilor Mercer, second by Councilor Laurie. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion's carried. Again, motion to waive full reading by Councilor Martin, seconded by Councilor Laurie. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. In City Council, vote approving the exemption of Michael F. Dillon Jr. from the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 268A, Section 20, second reading by title, and City Council vote approving the exemption of Michael F. Dillon Jr. from the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 268A, Section 20. Motion to approve by Council Lori, seconded by Council Noon. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mayor Murphy. Counsel Noir.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Laurie.
Yes.
Counsel Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Donza.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Next item, motion to waive the full reading by Council Lori, seconded by Council Leahy. All those in favor say aye, any opposed say nay. In City Council, ordinance. An ordinance amend the Code of Ordinances for the City of Lowell, Massachusetts, the code with respect to Chapter 266 entitled Vehicles and Traffic. Second reading by title. Well, actually, let me see. No, okay, no. We're going to refer to a public hearing on April 16th. Motion by Council Lori, seconded by Council Martin. Any discussion? Council Martin.
Just the Photine Drive, is that also February 16th?
23rd.
23rd, okay. Thank you.
That was April 23rd.
Okay, thanks.
Council Leahy.
So this whole packet is referred to public.
Yes, it's referred to public hearing.
Okay. Could I ask for more information? There wasn't any information on what the rates were gonna be. Okay.
I think the question, Council, you had is,
Just for special events,
special
basically.
events, is that the event rate that we use for the garage, the A-Art garage is $10. The Lot A is $15. So we would likely charge the $10 rate for those meters.
And does that happen around, for the MRT though, too? Are they gonna do that on Merrimack Street and Fayette and all that too? Because that was a concern that people have asked about, so.
Right.
I just want to be upfront, you know.
Yeah, let me come back to you
I'm
on
not in
that.
favor of it. If you weren't gonna do it, I'm not advocating for it, but I'm saying that was a concern.
Right. At this point, I would probably say no.
Okay.
But I think we should leave open the option in the future for, not so much for the MRT, but there may be events that take place at the auditorium that it would be helpful.
All right.
But why don't we
Sure, we'll talk.
have some additional discussion on that?
Thank you.
Council Lori.
Thank you. I was just up to Manchester for the hockey games over the weekend, and up there, I used the kiosk one day. They leave it at 75 cents an hour. They don't kick it up at night, and they go to 8 o'clock at night. So if you're there at 4, you gotta pay 4 hours. The other part is, well, on-street parking is premium. I was on the highway in 2 seconds. So, but that was the question I was gonna have. Where do you stop downtown charging after 5 o'clock as opposed to? So I think in the ordinance, and this is only a suggestion, you would label, say, 3 or 4 streets in the ordinance, and I wouldn't do, the MRT is over by a church, so you have people using that at night, a lot of resident parking, but I'm wondering if that wouldn't be a wise idea going forward, designating areas between Lasher and, but.
I think that's certainly the intention. It wouldn't be that we would start charging that everywhere, and you want it to be the premium parking that is paid.
Well, I'm sure other cities charge more, Manchester, no.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
All those in favor of setting to a public hearing signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Next item, number 12. In City Council, a vote authorizing the city manager on behalf of the City of Lowell to enter into a lease agreement to use and occupy a portion of the areas of the Lowell Memorial Auditorium, further described as Liberty Hall, and further to authorize the city manager to enter into a donation agreement with the Merrimack Repertory Theater Incorporated in the City of Lowell. Be it voted by the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows, that the city manager be and is hereby authorized to enter into a lease agreement with the Merrimack Repertory Theater Incorporated to use and occupy a portion of the areas of Lowell Memorial Auditorium, further described as Liberty Hall in the City of Lowell, and that the city manager be and is hereby authorized on behalf of the City of Lowell to enter into a donation agreement with the Merrimack Repertory Theater Incorporated. Said lease and donation agreement shall be in accordance with the forms or substantially the forms attached hereto. Second reading by title and City Council vote authorizing the city manager on behalf of the City of Lowell to enter into a lease agreement to use and occupy a portion of the areas of Lowell Memorial Auditorium, further described as Liberty Hall, and further to authorize the city manager to enter into a donation agreement with the Merrimack Repertory Theater in the City of Lowell. A motion to approve by Councilor Mercer, seconded by Councilor Martin. Any discussion? Councilor Mercer.
I support this, but I just had a question. It's $32,830 per year, or 15% of the annual operating costs. So whichever is greater, as certified by the Board of Trustees of the Lowell Memorial Auditorium. So did we ever figure out which is more? It's the 32,000 is the more?
Right now,
Mr.
it's,
Manager.
thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Right now, it's 32,000. But in the future, if that goes up, if the costs go up, then that could change.
And it's $2 per ticket for tickets over $17.
That's correct. That's consistent with what the current surcharge.
And the MRT people that are involved, Charles Towers, whomever, they're happy with this. They're agreeing with this.
They're agreeing to it, yes.
Thank you.
All right, no other discussion? We had a registered speaker, if there was to speak.
Mr. Charles Towers.
Of Merrimack Repertory Theater. I don't want to lengthen this meeting any longer, so I'll speak very quickly. I just want to say, on behalf of the Board of Trustees of MRT, I've been Artistic Director since 2001, and I'm a resident of Lowell. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I want to thank the City of Lowell, especially Adam Backey, who's worked with us, the Lowell Memorial Auditorium Board of Trustees for their efforts in drawing up this lease agreement for the Liberty Hall wing of LMA, which is being brought before the City Council tonight. MRT has been a tenant of Liberty Hall since 1985, annually bringing 40,000 audience members to downtown Lowell between September and May, offering 175 performances during that period. We also bring an agreement by which we make a donation to the City of Lowell of the interior renovations of Liberty Hall, which we completed last summer. I'd like to acknowledge the over $100,000 of facility fees, which comes from that $2 surcharge, which was granted back to us by the LMA board, and the over $750,000 in private contributions we raised from MRT supporters, which are now being donated to the city in the form of the beautifully renovated Liberty Hall. And I also want to acknowledge, a good relationship we've maintained with Mill City Management, and we look forward to forging a similar relationship with the new management company. And we feel we're in partnership with the city and all downtown attractions, as we work together to make Lowell an ever more vibrant cultural center and one that draws new residents and visitors alike. We acknowledge our partnership with the city, and we appreciate it very much. Thank you.
And
Councilor Mercer.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that when they had the grand opening there at the MRT, we were invited and we took a tour of the facility, and the renovations work is excellent. I can't even begin to tell you, and I would encourage people to go there and see for themselves the effort and the money and the time and the remodeling that was done to upgrade Liberty Hall to that beautiful theater setting, and I'm very impressed and grateful. Thank you.
Roll call.
Mayor Murphy. Counselor Norton.
Yes.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy.
Yes.
Counselor Laurie.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Donza.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Next item, vote in City Council, order to transfer funds to cover overages and projections until the end of the year, ordered by the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows, that the amount of $275,000 be transferred from health insurance account number 09149713, set forth in attachment A, to city and school unemployment accounts, all of which are set forth in attachment A. Order recommended and introduced by Adam Bakey, Acting City Manager. And second reading by title, vote in City Council, order transfer funds to cover overages and projections until the end of the year. Motion to approve by Councilor Noon, second by Councilor Mercier. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mayor Murphy. Counselor Norton.
Yes.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy.
Yes.
Counselor Laurie.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Donza.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Leahy. All those in favor say aye, any opposed say nay. Motion's carried. In City Council, vote authorizing the City Council to ratify and approve the execution by the City Manager of the Memorandum of Understanding between the City of Lowell and the Lowell Police Association Incorporated Patrolmen's Union, covering the period of July 1st, 2012 through June 30th, 2015. Second reading by title. In City Council, vote authorizing the City Council to ratify and approve the execution by the City Manager of the Memorandum of Understanding between the City of Lowell and the Lowell Police Association Incorporated Patrolmen's Union, covering the period of July 1st, 2012 through June 30th, 2015. Wish of the body.
Move to approve.
Move approval by Councilor Laurie, seconded by Councilor Martin. Any discussion? Councilor Mercer.
Thank you. Mr. Vice Mayor, I wholeheartedly support the part of the contract where the Lowell Patrolmen's Union agree to use the GPS devices in their cruisers. This is not only for their safety, but to hold them accountable to their location. And if they have nothing to hide and they're doing their job, they should have no problem with accepting this. And the residents of the city are the big winners, and they do support it. So for this agreement to be in part of the contract, I commend the police and support this vote. And I really think that it's needed in there, and I'm happy to see that. Thank you.
Councilor Elliott.
I agree with Councilor Mercier. I think there are some good provisions in here. But during the budget time, I didn't support an increase of the $1 million to cover the salary increase. There were a 3-year salary increase totaling 6.5%. So while I do think there is some, the GPS as well as, the 111F provisions, those are good things. I just am living up to my word and what I voted before. So that's my concern, and that's why I will not be voting for this.
Councilor Martin.
Yes, some of the pro-city elements are been mentioned previously, but I think in addition, I think the sick leave buyback, which is something that is really has a big impact on the budget every year, is continually a problem, and these are very strong attempts to do away with that over time. So it will take us some time to get there, but this is how you do it. I mean, it has to be a negotiation. You could wish it were so, at budget time, or you can bring in agreements that deal with the problem and support them. So I support this.
Roll call.
Mayor Murphy. Counsel Nguyen.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
No.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Laurie.
Yes.
Counsel Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Mendonça.
No.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
6 yeas.
Motion carries. Motion to waive full reading by Counselor Elliott, seconded by Counselor Laurie. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion's carried. In City Council, vote authorizing City Council to vote authorize the City Council to ratify and approve the execution by the City Manager of the Memorandum of Agreement between the City of Lowell and Local 1705A AFSCME, Council 93 AFL-CIO, covering the period of July 1st, 2012 through June 30th, 2015. Second reading by title. In City Council, vote authorizing the City Council to ratify and approve the execution by the City Manager of the Memorandum of Agreement between the City of Lowell and Local 1705A AFSCME, Council 93 AFL-CIO, covering the period July 1st, 2012 through June 30th, 2015. Wish of the body.
Move approval.
Moved by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Noon. Any questions? Roll call.
Mayor Murphy. Counsel Nguyen.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
No.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Laurie.
Yes.
Counsel Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Mendonça.
No.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
6 yeas.
And next, we have communication from City Manager, request approval of out-of-state travel, 2 from the Police Department, 1 from the Fire Department.
Move to approve all three.
Move to approve all 3 by Council Laurie, seconded by Council Mercier. Any discussion or questions? Roll call.
Mayor Murphy. Counsel Nguyen.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Laurie.
Yes.
Counsel Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Mendonça.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Motion passes. There are 2 claims for property damage referred to the Law Department for report and recommendation by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Laurie. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. We have 1 utility petition. Wave guide to install underground fiber optic cable conduit for communication at 10 and 15 Technology Drive. Refer to public hearing on April 16th at 7 p.m. by
So moved.
Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Leahy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. We're now at the motions part. People have been patiently here from the library. Is everyone in accord with suspending the rules to bring
Yes.
up item 32?
Yes, so moved.
Suspend the rules by Councilor Mercier.
Roll call.
Seconded by Councilor Noon. Roll call.
Mayor Murphy. Counsel Nguyen.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Laurie.
Yes.
Counsel Martin.
No.
Vice Chair Mendonça.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Motion carries.
7 yeas.
Item 32, Councilor Elliott's motion, Request city manager address safety issues at the library, second by Councilor Kennedy. Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. We all got emails last week and also learned of arrest at the library, police reports being filed 2 weeks in a row. So I thought it was important to bring this motion forward for a number of reasons. There seems to be, again, a pattern of behavior at the library. And I know in the past we've heard that it's, an employee, a malcontent employee. But it just keeps recurring. We keep receiving information, we keep receiving emails, we even received letters. Gentleman signed it. Got letters with pictures. So again, we can sit back and not deal with it or bring it forward and find a solution to it, a permanent solution. I don't understand why this is taking place in the library. I don't understand why people are urinating in the stacks. I don't understand why hypodermic needles are being found. Why people are engaging in sex in the stacks. It's not being made up, Mr. Manager. It's being brought forward. And whether it's a perception by those individuals, feel that they can go to the library and get away with it or not, I don't know. But it's not just one time, it's not just 2 times, it's been going on for a while. And people, sooner or later the message gets out, the library's not a good place or not a safe place to go. There's repeatedly reports of intoxicated people in the library causing a ruckus. I guess there's even a section that's referred to as the drunk section. So before something bad does happen, you look at patterns of behavior, what has taken place, what could possibly take place. I wanted to bring this forward to come up with a solution once and for all. That if people abuse the library, if they're going in there drunk and disorderly, if they're being belligerent, if they're threatening the staff, if they're threatening the patrons, then we will do something about it, and a loud message will be sent to those individuals that are causing this, that it's not tolerated. Prostitutes, drug addicts, that's not the type of discussion that should be on this city council floor. But when we get emails, detailed emails, when people are getting arrested, we have to take action. And that's why I brought this forward. It's a problem. To me, it's a chronic problem. Does it happen every day? When someone goes to visit the library, are they going to see something? Maybe not. But that doesn't mean that there's not a problem there. We know that there are crimes that take place in the city. We don't see it all the time. We don't see all of them, but we know it's taking place, and we do things about it. We take actions. We take steps. So, Mr. Manager, I'm asking you through this motion to come up with a permanent solution. So those individuals that are going there, or the individuals at the library, when they see it, to call the police or take measures so it will not happen again. No one's making it up. It's not being staged. It's real-life information. They're detailed information, and we all want something done about it, so the message will be that the library has a lot of good to offer. We spent millions. It's a good resource, but it's being abused by some. So that's the motion, Mr. Manager, and I wanted to bring it forward before something does happen, and something bad does happen, and we can prevent it from anything taking place. Thank you.
There was someone registered to speak. Do you want to go first, Council Kennedy, or?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll only take a minute.
Okay, Council Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the manager. In your absence, we did get emails. I think everybody got an email about 2 fights that took place that required for the police to come in and settle those skirmishes at the library. About 2 weeks ago, I received a communication in the mail here, and I think everybody else did, with photos, which I gave to you, of people that were sleeping in the library. It's a public library. It needs to be available to everybody, but it is for reading and for research and books. It's not for sleeping. It's not for hanging out so you can have a place warm, and it isn't for fights. And so I have to agree with the maker of the motion. Something's got to be done there, and I understand that there's probably false alarms that are sent out about the library, but those pictures don't. That's a different thing to me. And the fact that the police had to respond 2 times, that's a different thing too. Those aren't made-up situations or created by somebody that wants to cause a problem. And so I think all that the maker of the motion is looking for is that you just address the situation and come up with a policy or some guidelines that the library can use to police that kind of activity.
Mr. Manager.
Well, this is always one of those difficult issues to respond to because, you know, I want to assure the council and I want to assure the employees of the library, and perhaps most importantly, I want to assure the public that they have a safe library. And so I try to say that, and it is portrayed by people as being, discounting it and not taking it seriously. Nothing can be farther from the truth. We do have issues at the library. Every public library in every community has issues from time to time. There is no permanent solution. That's the reality. I'd love to be able to sit here and say, we can fix this. We can't. There are going to be incidents that happen in City Hall. There's going to be incidents that happen at the library. I'm sitting here with a report from the police department that tells me that the Lowell General Hospital this year has already had 74 incidents. Saints Memorial in 2013, fiscal year 2013, had 65 incidents. Lowell High School had 40. Market Basket had 34. Gallagher Terminal had 31. The Robinson School had 23. The CVS Pharmacy downtown had 16. All of those, by the way, eclipse the number of calls to the Pollard Memorial Library. I don't think anybody would say that they're not going to Market Basket or that they're not going to CVS or that those places are unsafe. But in fact, they've had more incidents than the City of Lowell Library. We're going to have people that come into the library, they're going to come in, they are going to have had too much to drink. We're going to remove them, which we do. There are going to be people that come in that fall asleep, and we're going to wake them up and we're going to remove them. Will it be before someone snaps a picture? Apparently not, but we do that. I saw those pictures. that you sent to me, Counselor. We did some work. We investigated, particularly investigated the issue of the syringe. You know, it's unclear whether those pictures were taken the same day or not, but I will tell you this, that those pictures that came from that letter from that gentleman who claims he took a book out, we've found out that there is no such person who has a library privileges at the Lowell Public Library that took out books. We also know that those pictures were then circulated out to a local blogger with a completely different story than the one that you were provided, that all of you were provided within a letter. The story that I received is that they were sent on. I certainly saw the letter that you received, but then I got something that seems to indicate that a teenage girl took the pictures and that the people slept there for 2 to 3 hours. Well, I can tell you that the protocol we use is people aren't allowed to sleep there. They're immediately, you know, as soon as we see them, they're awakened, they're sent out. We are going to have disturbances of people coming in. You're correct, Counselor, and you and I have had this discussion actually offline. You can't stop people from coming into the library. You don't know that they're going to come in and have a fight or they're going to get into an argument. You don't know that they might come in and with a syringe. We have found syringes in this building. I would guess that restrooms across the city have had syringes found in them, across not only the city of Lowell, but across the area's suburban communities as well. These things are going to happen. We do have strong policies, and we do follow those, and we try to balance them with people's rights to use the public library. Because someone happens to be homeless, we can't keep them out. Because someone happens to be young and a bit boisterous, we can't keep them out. I don't think that's what we want. What we want is strong policies, and I think we have that. And I think that, you know, when we look at how we manage the library, and the library, you know, this is one of those cases too where I'm going to be meeting with the Board of Trustees of the library. We're going to be talking about this. They remain committed to this issue, as do I, that the library is going to continue to be a safe place to be. But, you know, we can't permanently solve the problem by saying that those things will never happen. All we can do is respond when it does. So I commit to you that we will continue to do that. We will look to see if there's some things that can be strengthened. But I do think we have to keep this in some type of perspective. And I know it makes great stories to say some of these things, but the realities are the numbers don't show it being a dangerous place. There are safety issues that happen there as they do across the city. And we respond and we take care of it. We have the police walking through there on a regular basis. We have a security guard there. We have strong policies. We've ordered people out of the library and issued no trespass orders, told them they can't come back. We do that on a regular basis. So all of those things we do, but we can't say that we're never going to have a problem there. I can't honestly sit before you and say that.
Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I understand all that, and when I got the pictures, I gave them to you right away.
Yep.
And you were gonna get back to me on that, and I'm hearing about it this evening, which is...
And I just got that information, by the way, on the
Okay.
other ones.
But there was not just one picture. I mean, there were 3 or 4 photos, as I remember, of different people. No.
Three.
Yeah. Of different people that were sleeping there, and I don't know if they were there for 5 minutes. I don't know if they were staged. I just know that they were different people. I would think you'd have a hard time getting someone to come into the library, make believe they're going to sleep so you could take a picture. Maybe there's people that can do that, but okay. If they were sleeping there and someone's getting them removed, then that's fine. I didn't say anything about the syringe. As far as the police reports and the 2 people came in, that's not an acceptable thing. And, you know, we can compare it to CVS and to Market Basket and some of those other places, but we're responsible for the library and for making sure that that's safe. Now, I understand that that's going to happen from time to time, but I think the maker of the motion brings it up because there's been a lot of stuff recently, and that's what the motion's about. so.
Mr. Manager.
Just for the record, I wasn't saying that I don't believe anyone, we don't have actors that good in the city that they came in and staged those photographs. I think those people were sleeping there.
Yeah.
I think someone took their picture and is using those for another purpose,
Right.
bluntly.
Yep.
I do know that the library staff on a regular basis goes around, if they see someone like that, they wake them up and they send them out. And in the fight that broke out, there was a case there, the police reports are in your hands. We had an individual, a woman, a pregnant woman, who was accused by someone of threatening them. A report was issued. The following week, the employee saw the same person in there, called the police. There was some disagreement with the woman and the police as to why she was being removed from why she was being ordered out. That's why the police were called. She happened to be there with someone who was upset that she was being handcuffed and being removed out. I'm not justifying what he did. I'm not justifying what she did. But he then got upset, requiring additional police to come over and handle that. The police were called. That's when something like that happens, we call the police. But then we're caught in the position of, if the police show up, there must be a problem. But if we are responding to the issues, then we're going to call the police. So we're it's a catch-22 for us. And the only way around that is to basically prohibit anyone from coming into the library, because we don't know who's going to come in that's going to be a problem. But out of the thousands of people that go through that building every year, we had this year, I gave you the numbers for those other places, this year there were 14 calls in fiscal year 2013, compared to what you see in those other establishments. And again, I'm not saying that we don't have issues that need to be addressed. Clearly we do. And by that I mean we have people that come in there that are going to be disruptive and going to be a problem for us. We just have to respond effectively when they do. And I think we're doing that.
You said 14 calls. Is that 14 calls on fiscal year or 14 calls on calendar year for 2000?
I'm guessing it's in the fiscal year. This goes, statistics were recalculated by combining the number of calls from 2012 and 2013 from July 1st through March 31st.
Okay.
It has to be the fiscal year because 2012 we had 9. In 2013, we had 14. And again, if I look at the other establishments that I mentioned, they're in the same type of, Lowell General, 70 in 2012, 74 in 2013.
Okay.
Okay.
Councilor Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Safety is very important in school or in library. Families and children need to feel safe. Hearing some of the issues and concern that Councillor Elliott brought and the motion was bring about, I also like to hear as well from the library staff their perception of the library. Is it unsafe? Is there a protocol or policy in place that they sometime enforce and sometime not? Or are they enforcing all the time? You can't stop it, library, you have family, particularly children who go there, not children, teenagers who go there and study, just, tired from school, start to do homework an hour or two, and then kind of fall asleep. Well, picture someone walk by, snap a shot, there you go. Well, if you have a library and the staff there who come on and say, hey, you can't sleep here, then they enforce the rule. I'm more interested in hearing, because I have not heard from the librarian staff to see whether or not they perceive the library to be unsafe. Right now, what we're saying is if it is unsafe, don't come. I noticed that if you look at March 28 report, you know, they handle things as they call the police and of the issues of threatening. They actually went on to issue a no trespassing notice to the individual who causes disturbance. Well, what more do you want them to do? Yes, I agree that we need to be proactive, but if there's a policy in place, they're enforcing it. And if they come up here and say, you know what, it happened, I can't stop people from coming in, and I don't know whether they're going to cause trouble or not, but when it happened or before it happened, I intervene. If they say they did that and they feel safe, then I'm not there every day, I'm not there every week. I hear from somebody who doesn't like somebody's, and then I bring about as if it is a factual thing that the library is unsafe. You know, I wouldn't want to send that message to the Lowellian that it is unsafe. But I do like the idea of we need to be proactive and enforce the policy, the protocol that we have in place. Thank you.
Councilor Early, could we have the speaker who's registered come up?
Absolutely.
Nancy Pifkin.
Nancy Pitkin, I live at 26 Waverly Ave in Lowell. I am on the Board of Trustees of the library, and I am also chairperson of the trustees. And I am in the library sometimes once a week. This particular week, I'll be in the library 3 different days of the week, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. And I have never felt unsafe in the library. I have never seen anything happen in the library. I do talk to the librarians when I borrow books, CDs. I don't do DVDs, but when I do go into, borrow books, I frequently use the library online, and I'm very concerned that we're sending a message that the library is not a safe place to be. I don't feel that any more unsafe when I'm in the mall or when I'm in CVS or when I'm in Market Basket than I do when I'm in the library. And I think it's unfortunate that this is the type of thing that gets brought out and put in the paper. There's a fantastic nonfiction book club that meets at the library once a week. There's a fantastic tutoring program that happens at the library. There's another program to help people who are speakers of other language learn to speak English. Those are the types of things I'd like to see in the paper to bring out what happens in our library. And the piece about the syringes being brought in, how do you know that person isn't a diabetic? How do you know they don't have a reason for having, a syringe? So I also feel that as the Board of Trustees, that we should know about these things before they come to the City Council. I don't like coming here to talk, and I've been here since 6 o'clock too. So, it would be nice to know that these are the concerns that the city councilors have before they get brought up before the City Council and, put on TV and put in the newspaper. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Thank you, Nancy. We can't control what's in the newspaper. All I can do is bring forward what comes to my attention, and if you don't know about it, if the board doesn't know about it, then your staff should be telling you about it. I don't know if you're aware of a woman named Tawny, but I guess it's pretty well known. She's a prostitute. She goes there. She uses needles. I don't think she's a diabetic. I don't know. But there's blood in the bathrooms after. I mean, that's information that we're not making up. I don't know if you're not aware of it. Mr. Manager, you want to cite statistics? That's good. Those businesses call the police every time because they don't want those types of patrons in their stores, because if the message gets out that there's a problem then people aren't going to go back. That's not taking place at the library. The police are not being called regularly, and the police department is right next door. That's the difference. Of course, they don't want to call the police every time, because then that number is going to increase to show a problem. So I think there's a good message there. I think the difference between the schools or CVS or, what did you say, Market Basket, they don't want people there, and they're not going to let them come in. I think we can make judgment calls. I think we're all pretty intelligent. We can tell when someone is intoxicated and they don't belong there. So that's all. That's what we want. Of course we want to send a message out that it's a safe place to go. The other difference is there are children that go to these places. We should be extra vigilant to make sure that the people that are there are using it properly. And the message will get out. If it's not tolerated, if there's zero tolerance, then it won't happen. People will find somewhere else to go to do whatever they have to do. If it's enforced, if we're vigilant, if we have to call the police every day to get people over there, then we should do it. And sooner or later, the message will get out. The library is a place to be used to study or to read or to congregate for book clubs. And going there to, in any type of state of mind is not acceptable, and we'll have to go somewhere else. That's all. I don't want to bring this forward. I don't want it in the newspaper. I want a solution to it, so people can feel reassured to go use the library. I don't know, I find it hard to believe, Mr. Manager, that this happens in other libraries. I just find it hard to believe that there are this many instances of the types of behavior that's taken place in other libraries, but I thank you for the time to speak.
Mr. Manager.
Well, Counselor, I can assure you that they do take place in other libraries, and you'd be shocked at some of the suburban libraries that do have these types of incidents. We do call the police. I know that there are a couple of people at the library that insist we don't, but we do. With regards to Councilor Nunn's question as to whether the library staff feels safe, they participated. The library staff participated in a whole effort that the library trustees worked on at my request to look at safety, and they felt very safe. So again, we're dealing here with, and I've heard the stories of Tawny, and, a lot of it, we can't seem to document the claims that are being made about this individual. But again, when people are in there that shouldn't be there, the staff very quickly contacts the police. When the police walk through on a regular basis, they don't see these things happening. The security guard is there, and so again, I don't want to downplay this to the point that I'm saying we don't have issues or we can't always do better. And I can assure the council that those efforts will continue, and we will step them up even more.
Councilor Martin.
Thank you. The comments made earlier about a pattern, and this is the pattern I see. I see an unhappy employee who is now in the process of tormenting her third library director, who is in active litigation about the city, who has the ear of a couple city councilors, who continually bring forward incidents that aren't shared with all of us. I haven't seen those pictures. They don't come to all of us. So they come to selected people who feel obliged to tarnish the image of what is a very good functioning public library. I'm a member of the Friends of the Library. I get their newsletter. These are some of the things that are going on. Councilor Laurie and I were there earlier, I think later last year, toward Christmas time, fantastic public art that's owned by our library. We did get a story in the newspaper about that, something that goes unremarked upon. Authors' nights. We have an invite on our desk this year. Ben Mesrich, author of the Bringing Down the House and other books. Last year, Linda Greenlaw, who was the subject of the book A Perfect Storm. Prior years, the author William Martin, no relation to me, author of many mystery books, The Lost Constitution. Those things go on every week. The annual book sale coming up May 16th, 17th, and 18th this year. It is a highly functioning, highly effective public library that operates very well in an urban environment. And we, for some reason, on this council, feel obliged to kind of, and it's really consistent with what's happened here all night. Let's focus on the minutia, focus on problems and make them amplified bigger than what they are. And the reason they're bigger than what they are is because we've had the same people raising the same issues for years that can't be documented. And now most recently, we have somebody who left her job and is telling newspaper reporters that she was treated unfairly by Mary Callery, who is as professional an employee as we have in this city. So to say you were treated unprofessionally by her should tell us all what type of people we're dealing with here. It certainly tells me all I need to know about that type of person. So can keep bringing up these things and talking about how we have issues in the library and we can do better and all, bah. We've heard it all before. I guess we're going to continue to hear it. But the people are committed to the library. The Friends of the Library do great work there. The trustees do great work. The staff does great work. And the patrons, by and large, enjoy the library that we have. So I think this is a ridiculous motion. It's been here many times already. It's been continually being dealt with by the staff, by the administration, by the police. And I'm going to oppose it because I think all it's designed to do is reflect poorly on the library.
Councilor Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. We in this city have spent $10 million to refurbish that beautiful building. That's not to say that things won't ever happen there. Things will happen. But I think of the adage that says a picture speaks 100 words. And yes, maybe I'm one that they targeted and they sent me the picture as well. And I sent it to someone in the mayor's office because he was on vacation. I just wanted him to take a look at it and see if he could find out what's going on. Because if someone says this is happening there, that's happening there, I have to kind of take their word for it, but yet I've never seen it. I've been to the library on different occasions. I've never seen any problems there, but that's not to say they don't exist. Having said that, when I looked at the picture, it isn't some mother, parent that's there with their child. If it is, that's a pretty big child that is sprawled out the whole length of the thing. It is a library. It isn't the Holiday Inn. But the fact is, if they're doing something about it, that's all I'm saying. But to condemn the maker of the motion because he put it forward, I don't know. He has a right to make a motion. He has a right to question. I question too. Does that make me a bad person? I don't think so. I'm not trying to create havoc here, as went on all night long. But I'm just saying that we have a right to do our duty as we feel that is our job.
Councilor Laurie, all set?
Move the question.
Councilor Noon.
Second, to move the question.
All right. Motion to move the question by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Mercier. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion's carried.
Chairman, I would like to,
Well,
in the interest of time, I would just like I'd like to move that all of the motions that
Well,
are left.
we have to take a vote on the motion first. So we have a motion on the floor now. All those in favor of Counselor Elliott's motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay, which brings us to Rule 5, because we're beyond 10 p.m.
Chairman?
Motion
Wait.
to,
I would just like to move that all the motions that are left on the agenda be passed unless council want, including mine, unless councilors want to hold them over till next week.
I
any
second.
objections?
I second.
We're going to vote on that one, on the last one?
We already did.
We already voted on the last one.
There was a,
Unanimous.
There was a move the question, and we moved Counselor Elliott's motion.
all right.
We did vote. You want to be recorded in the negative?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty clear about that.
Yes, okay. But now we have a motion by Counselor Kennedy to pass all the rest of the motions, but before that, we have to deal with Rule 5, so unless any motion to suspend Rule 5.
So moved.
The only
By
problem is
Counselor
on,
Kennedy, seconded by Counselor Mercier to suspend Rule 5. Roll call.
Mayor Murphy. Counsel Nguyen.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Laurie.
Yes.
Counsel Martin.
No.
Vice Chairman Donson.
Yes.
Counsel Mercier.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion by Counselor Kennedy to take up all the motions unless someone wants to pull their motion. Counselor Laurie.
I just want to speak on one because there was the change over the past couple of days, and otherwise I'd accept them all, if that's okay.
Which one?
Number 21.
Number 21. Motion to accept all of the motions other than 21. Counselor Mercier.
I'm going to bring my motion back next week, number 28. I'm not going to let that go by. I'm not going to just pass it. I want to speak on it, number 28.
All of the motions other than 21 and 28 that have not been dealt with. Counselor Laurie.
If 21 can be, I just want to talk just a little bit. There was just a change on one part of that motion.
Okay, let's deal with the rest of them. Motion to accept all the rest by Counselor Kennedy, seconded by Counselor Mercier. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. All other motions are carried. Is the clerk keeping up with us?
I think I am, yep.
Okay. Motion number 21 by Counselor Laurie. Request city manager have the proper department install bullpen and batting cage areas near benches at Hadley Park. Second by Counselor Kennedy. Counselor Laurie.
I put this motion originally, I got a call that they need a bullpen and batting cages. I stopped out and saw Ryan Rourke last week. They have all the materials for a batting cage and a bullpen. All they need is probably a little bit of a fence to put in front of the bullpen so they don't get hit with a line drive. The other requirement they asked are that they'd like to put a snack bar out there. And they would build it themselves, as we talked about. I said they coach with Ray Boot, maybe the vocational school could help them. So if the one thing they really need help with these batting cages, maybe someone from engineering to go out and show them where to put the poles so they don't fall, and work with Tommy Belgard. That's it.
Mr. Manager.
Very quickly, we've worked with other organizations like that with refreshment stands and all that, so we'll do the same thing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And Counselor Mercier's motion will be delayed till next week. That was the request.
Do you want me to do it now? No.
If we want to get it, if it's brief.
Yeah, it's
All right.
brief. It's brief.
Motion by Counselor Mercier. Request city manager ensure that no item of historical significance or cultural importance be removed from City Hall without permission from the City Council. Seconded by Counselor Elliott. Counselor Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I was thinking when I made this motion that I was thinking back to the days when the radio stations would say that the opinions expressed here are solely those of the participants and do not reflect the views of the station or its management. Well, lately, what is said and done, in my opinion, should reflect that disclaimer. Myself and this council are not responsible for other people's actions, but only for our own. Having said that, most people know that you don't take something that doesn't belong to you. Most people know that, especially if that item is a gift to the city. If the item is a gift to the city, most people would assume just as your gift to someone would be a symbol of love, respect, and friendship, so too their gift reflects the same meaning to the city. And I was in attendance when that bust of Pericles was presented to the people of the city of Lowell, and you could feel their pride. The people of Greek descent were so honored to realize that they had permission from the city to display their gift in a fitting place of reverence. After all, this was the father of democracy, an honorable leader who would be placed at the opposite end, facing our president and great leader as well. But in my opinion, to take this great symbol and what it stands for out of the building is one thing, but to desecrate it and poke fun at it at the expense of a few chuckles is hurtful, thoughtless, and disrespectful, and it drags us all down. So this motion is designed to instill and solidify the fact that no one can take it upon themselves to remove any item or items from the City Hall. It doesn't matter if the intent is only to borrow the item or temporarily for the purpose of show and tell, getting it repaired, or for the sake of a good laugh. This cannot be done without the permission of the City Council. And having said that, I would request a roll call vote on this motion.
Councilor Martin.
I'm opposed. I think it's unnecessary. I think stuff goes in and out of this building all the times for good purposes, for repairs, and I think to have all those things come to the council every week is unnecessary.
If I could just state a quick opinion, my objection is that some of this the manager doesn't oversee. The auditor's office, the clerk's office, and the mayor's office. So I'm not sure that the manager could enforce every instance of this. That's my only comment. Councilor Noon.
The other question I have is that the historical significant item, Steve Stowe from Historical Department, I'm just wondering how often he taking us historical stuff outside of the city of Lowell to outside the city hall to repair it. I mean, if it's a lot often, and that's just really, we, I guess is we micromanage, if you may want to say that, the employee in terms of, doing their work. I'm not sure if that's the role of the council. I do concern because, if Steve Stowe and, would take stuff out of the city hall often to repair, to fix, and every meeting we have to have in the agenda, we don't have time to discuss what's important, really, to the city, like after-school program, like crime and safety, like, the park issue, like a lot of other issues. And now we are going to this little stuff and micromanage what the city staff can do or cannot take out. Look, the incidents that involving the mayor, the breakfast, he did it. We spoke about that earlier. We spent 2 hours talking about that. There's no need of this.
Roll call.
We have a roll call.
Mayor, Mr. Vice Chair.
Councilor Elliott.
Thank you. I don't think there's anything wrong with this motion. Maybe what's wrong is that the notion that stuff goes in and out of this place and no one knows. Maybe it is a good motion that we do have some system of accountability to what goes in and out. That certainly should not have been taken out. So I think it's a good motion to put on record that it just shouldn't have to take place. It was given to the city. Anything given to the city is not given to one individual. It belongs in that mayor's room because it's a gift to the city, and we've had scores of people from all around the world come and give gifts to the city, not to one individual. So I'm going to support the motion.
Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maybe some of the speakers have brought up that maybe the scope of the motion is too broad, and so I would just like to offer in substitution that the motion be referred to the City Council Subcommittee on Facilities to
Second.
maybe be tuned up.
Seconded by
I was just going to
Councilor.
say that, yeah.
Substitute motion to refer to City Council Facilities Subcommittee.
Absolutely.
Yes, I support that, but could I just also offer, I would also like to submit 3 letters as part of the record in conjunction with the support of this motion. The first is from Nikki Catcris, a Lowell resident, and this letter was CC'd to the mayor and all of the city councilors. The second letter is from Judge Zaharoulas, representing the Pan-Laconian Federation. Judge is the Supreme President, representing the Leonidas and Sparta chapter of Lowell, and I'm sure a copy of this letter met my colleagues as well. And the third letter is from Judge Zaralides, representing Pan-Macedonia Association, the Emilianos and Theodora chapter. This letter was also sent to my colleagues. I would like to submit this as part of the record to the city clerk. Thank you, and I do support the substitute motion. However, we can word it to make it not micromanage what the manager has enough to do, but it's a symbol that you just don't up and take what was a gift to the city should stay here. At least respect what people gave to the city.
On the substitute motion to refer to the Facility Subcommittee, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. Motion to adjourn
So moved, Mr.
by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Martin. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. We stand adjourned. Thank you for your patience.